Chains rattle broken, now we rise. Flag in my hand, stars burn the skies. Truth ain't dead, though the liars try. They scream loud, but the words all die. Guys watching hands, praise to the throne. Freedom ain't free, blood built this home. Continue freedom, keep it alive. Red, white, blue, we bleed to survive. Continue freedom, keep it alive. Land of the free, ain't bending the knee. Truth in my veins, it's all I see. Patriots roar, no fear in the fight. Continue freedom, stand in the light.
And I'm muted. Welcome back to Continue Freedom, guys. Thank you all so much for being here. When you come in, hit all the free buttons below. I really appreciate it. It helps the channel, helps us in the algorithm. We got a lot to talk about tonight. I'm very excited. By the way, got to bring up Texas Motherbird first in the chat tonight. Is it going to come up? There it went. Good to see you here, Texas Motherbird. Adri Unfiltered is here. Let's see. Yeah, we got some other folks in here. All right. Thank you all so much for being here. I got a guest tonight. As you all saw from the thumbnail, Samurai, good to see you in the chat as well. I've got the great Rage Bronson. Welcome, my friend. Welcome. We got a lot to discuss tonight. For those that don't know, tell everybody who you are, what you do, what you're all about.
I am Rage Bronson, and I talk a bunch of trash on the internet and have a really good ability to upset people. That's what I do.
That's a good thing. That's the sign of a good show. If you walk away, and sometimes it's frustrating. I said this about small channels. When you're a small channel, you get absolutely crushed in the comments. But it's nice to have we get our loyal guests that keep coming back and they follow the channels. But if everybody's agreeing, then you're probably not doing everything right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't care. You know what I mean? I'm going to say what I think, and that's, if you like it, great. If you don't, see ya.
I have to say, I'm happy that you're sporting the hoodie tonight. I saw when you sent me that image for the thumb. That's right, We the People. And I've actually got the t-shirt. So this is this one is, here you go. We got the sleeve print on the side, We the People t-shirts. You guys can get that if you want to. And
it's champion, man. This thing is comfy.
Yeah, it's
like nice. I thought it was going to be like heavy and bulky.
Yeah,
it's not. It's kind of mid range. It's great.
Yeah,
it's great hoodie.
It's good stuff. It's good stuff. And the t-shirts are nice too. This is the first sample that I got of it, and I was like, okay, it's a tri-blend, so it's that slightly lighter material. So if you don't like that, and we've got mugs here. I'm just sitting here hawking merch. That wasn't the intent. I've got the We the People mug and all that stuff tonight. Okay. So enough of that. Let's say hi to some more folks that have come on the chat. I've got my screens all different tonight because I have to do this when I've got a guest on. But Natalie, good to see you. Megan, good to see you. Lori, good to see you. Juju B, good to see you. We've got a bunch of great folks. One of the best chats on the internet. Rachel, good to see you. All right. So you guys saw from the thumbnail, and Rage, I know that you saw the thumbnail. It's the doomers, the black pillars, all this stuff that we're going to talk Tucker Carlson. We got to talk Nick Matau, all that. But I know you did a live stream on this yesterday. And by the way, everybody go check out Rage's live stream from yesterday. It was a very, very good one. But you talked about how you're kind of frustrated with all this, I guess the current state of conservative politics. Can you give a quick recap of what you talked about yesterday?
I mean, it seems that the left has the same problem going on right now. So as I was kind of digging through that, and since yesterday, I've looked into it more, like they're almost just as divided as the right is. So I have no idea what to expect come midterms. No clue. I would think that the left would see this opportunity, right? Like Nick Fuentes actually did a pretty good video, or somebody clipped it and put it out. Him talking about this like op that's going on where the left is basically taking advantage of the Jew hate, and now everything is the Jews, right? But if you look and James Carville, like, the left doesn't like the DSA, the stuff that's coming, the socialism. Democrats don't like that at all. And that's growing. So we have the woke right, and they've got the DSA. So I feel like they're in just as bad a shape as we are right now. So I don't even know what to think as far as midterms go. I have no clue. I thought I had a pretty good handle on it. No idea.
Yeah. I think that this, one of the things Tim Pool has been talking about it a lot. He's mentioned it in several of his things. It's not an ideological thing that we're dealing with. It's a Supreme Court thing. And I was trying to find the case beforehand, has not gotten a ton of publicity, but it's, I believe, RNC versus someone, and you guys can correct me in the chat or tell me what it was in the chat. And this is the one for mail-in voting. And the theory is that if this goes down, the midterms are basically, the Democrats will never win again, because the Supreme Court, if they rule widely, then basically it becomes a election day only. There is no there is no post, there is no post counting. Everything has to be done on election day. And if somebody's not able to, then you just don't vote. That's just it. And if that's the case, because we've seen now in California, it stretches out into, weeks and a month for them just to count an election, that basically this would end all of that. So potentially California even becoming Republican, because they can't mail in votes and they can't do the ballot. Well, ballot harvesting is still going to be a thing. But anyway, that's about the midterms. Ideologically, what you're talking about, I think it is interesting, because it's like, I've always been of the mind that the Democrats are solid. Like, they never deviate from one another. And you're right. After listening to you talk about it yesterday, it's like, yeah, there are divisions on the Democrat side. Like, they're split on some things. The old school Democrats and the new school Democrats, the Democrat socialists, the Democrats the tried and true kind of middle left Democrats don't want to be associated with the far left. And we don't want to be associated with the far radical wild right. So yeah, it does throw a bit of a hitch into the midterms. But
then you got the tarred libertarians right in the middle of everything too. And who knows what those idiots are going to do.
Yeah, libertarians. I mean, when they had the guy running around naked at their convention and all that, it's like, truthfully, I believe there is and this is where we might agree. I believe there is somewhat of a uni-party, and where it's not across the board, but there are the people who kind of toe that line. They play the politics of it. They're the center left, center right. They line up more than the Trump. They're not MAGA, basically, is what I would say. MAGA is, no, let's get everything done on Trump's agenda, on the right, the conservatism, that sort of thing. Even though Trump's not a true conservative, but the uni-party is what has gotten us a lot of spending, because all the spending it's not going to stop with the people, with the Lindsey Grahams of the world, or with the, I would even say Mike Johnsons of the world. You know what I'm saying? So it's people.
The uni-party is made up of the people that want to be career politicians. They want to spend 30 and 40 years at that job, milking it for all they can, insider trading, all of that garbage. That's the uni-party. So we need a solution when it comes. We need term limits. We really do.
Yeah.
I think that obviously that wouldn't solve everything, but it wouldn't hurt. It would get rid of this idea of becoming a career politician, because the uni-party crap is they're just going to toe the line, do whatever they need to do to continue to get elected, to continue to get donors and continue to get funding for campaigns.
Yeah.
I think that's a big problem.
Yeah. I think that's a fair point. Plus the primaries, where are the people to primary these longstanding politicians, these ones that have been in for, and a lot of people don't have the guts, because you go into politics and you're going to get absolutely slaughtered for any skeleton that's in your closet.
Yeah, 100%.
Any little thing that you did 50 years ago, when they started doing that, saying, oh, this guy back when he was Brett Kavanaugh, Brett Kavanaugh was a beer drinker in college. And then they used that as leverage to try and make all these wild accusations and just crushed him out in the public. Why in the world would anybody want to subject themselves to that? And so I don't know. It's difficult, but to to kind of get to what we're talking about, I was thinking, and you tell me what you think, because I don't know the best order to play this. Do you think that clip that you sent me, or the interview you sent me, would probably be a better place to start than the longer Tucker one?
Well, the clip that I sent you is him basically. Hold on a second here.
Yeah.
The clip that I sent you is him basically saying that Israel is the one who is responsible for Charlie Kirk without saying that Israel is responsible.
Okay.
So in his interview that he does with Alex sort of confronts him on this. And Tucker's like, I never said that. I didn't say Israel did it. And he's not lying. He didn't say it directly, but he did say it. And I thought that would just be a really good example to show sort of this media speak, the way that he got. I mean, Tucker's a pro, you know what I'm saying? But I thought it was just a really good example to show how these guys get away with saying something they want to say without actually saying the thing that they want to say.
Okay. Got it. By the way, and were you getting that echo again?
Yeah.
Were you? Dadgummit. It's got to be in my system. I don't know. Okay. Is it still there, or did it go away? Sorry, guys. For everybody in the chat, everybody that's watching, it's just a technical issue. Is it still there?
Yes.
Guys, let me
know.
But
it's okay. I think I got this.
Okay. Let me know down in
as long as it's not coming out to them, I think I'm good. I'll just turn my audio down when I'm talking.
Guys, in the chat, let me know if you guys if you're getting Bronson twice, if he's coming in like on a loop, or if there's any echo. Is the audio good? And I will wait for the chat. And I've got an echo cancellation over here, but that's what I used last time with and it cut you out completely. So I'll wait on the chat. Okay. Future, good to see you, by the way. Thank you. She doesn't hear it. Go ahead. Can you hear Rage now? Say something, Rage. Okay. All right. Well, everybody says sounds fine to me. All right. We're going to roll with it. All right. Everybody says audio's good. I'm sorry you're dealing with that, man. That's going to be distracting, I know, but it is what it is. All right. Let's go.
No, it'll be okay. I got this.
Okay. You're a pro. You got this. All right. Let's go ahead and play this clip from Tucker, and then we'll talk.
Into shutting up because of it, ever.
Have there been threats?
Have there been? Yeah, like, of course there have been threats. Were you kidding? Yeah.
And
aren't you used to that? Like you're outspoken on a lot of stuff, right? Like for many, many, many years, this can't be new to you.
Well, you're never going to hear me whine about threats ever to me, because I got on this voluntarily. I know I got fired after 15 years, the highest rated show in American cable television. So, and I got fired for my opinion. So and I'm not whining at all. I'm so grateful that I got fired. I'm just saying it's not like I didn't know what the price is. I do know what the price is. Charlie Kirk was murdered.
Yeah.
And he was not murdered for his opinions on transgenderism, obviously. He was, I believe, and most people who knew him well as I did and was friends with him as I was, believe he was most likely murdered for his evolving views on Israel. So I get it. A lot's at stake. The world is at stake. But from my perspective, I have a duty to say what I think is true. I'm often wrong. And I always say that because it's a fact. I have been wrong a lot, and I may be wrong now. But I am sincere. I'm saying what I believe is true, and I'm going to continue doing that no matter what.
Does it give you pause ever being so...
I mean, that's the clip.
And to that, I say, what's the evidence? You know?
Well, it's just media speak, right? He wasn't killed for his views on transgenderism, clearly, obviously. And we all know that it was because of his evolving views on Israel. Well, what's the implication there?
Yeah.
Who would care enough to unalive Charlie Kirk because of his alleged evolving views on Israel? Just a way for him to say it without saying it, or to pander to that audience.
Well, you
Because
mentioned
then he goes on with the Alex interview, and he's like, I never said that. Because Alex is like, well, you said that Israel did it. And I never said that. Never said it.
you
He
said
gets
that.
pretty defensive over it.
Yeah, you said that about the comment section in the longer one, which we're going to play some of that, where he was interviewing Donald Trump's social media advisor, and the comment section. It made me realize. I said, okay, this is audience capture. Like this is he's completely captured by his audience. All of it was crushing this mild mannered. Which we'll watch it. Let me pull it up and play it for everybody. This guy doesn't come across as a radical. This guy is not pounding the desk. This guy is calm, cool, collected, and the comment section treated him like he was the biggest shill for Israel that has ever existed on God's green earth. It was mind numbing, and I would see somebody like a Tucker Carlson. I don't. First off, let me ask you something. Do you think he's an idiot, or do you think he just knows what he's doing?
No, Tucker's brilliant.
You think so?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I mean, that's kind of my take as well. But I've questioned it more in recent months than I think I ever have. That is he just a mouth breather? Like, is he in real life? Is he somebody who's well read, but he can't process what he's read? And so in real life, he's just a window licker. Like that's like, how do you, either that or he's horribly deceptive. He's being horribly deceptive. I don't know.
No, I believe that Tucker Carlson is a brilliant actor.
That's a good way to put it. That's a great way to put it. He's a brilliant actor. I would buy into that. Let's play some of this interview. I'm bouncing around, guys. And I apologize for that, but I really didn't know where to start. I was like, do I start with the Nick Matau and Myron Gaines interview, or debate? It wasn't an interview, it was a debate. Or do I start with Tucker? I was like, let's just go with it. Let's roll with Tucker, and then we'll get
real quick. I don't know much about Alex at all. I've only really heard of him recently because of him alleging that there's all these like pro-Israel people now that are being paid to come out and attack Trump. Is he does, I don't think he's, because you were talking about the comments on this video on Tucker's channel. Is he Zionist? Is he a big pro-Israel guy? Because it doesn't seem like he comes across that way.
No, he's
so
not.
I'm just wondering what these people in Tucker's little cult are thinking when they're just like, this guy's a shill. Shill for who?
Well, I think this is it. It's because you support Trump. The linkage that Tucker has made, that Candace has made, that Ian Carroll has made, that all of these bad actors have made. They've made that connection of Trump and Israel. So anybody who works for Trump, supports Trump, goes against Tucker, the only other option is that you're Zionist getting your 7,000 shekels, and that's it. That's that. So I think it's, I hate to be this insulting, but I just think it's stupid people that are mentally captured by some very manipulative and very talented actors, as you would say, like Tucker Carlson. They've completely bought into it. It's a vent for people's outrage. Israel is an easy vent for people's outrage. And they didn't care about it before, it was, what, 2 years ago? How long's the?
Well, I think they did. I think a lot of people have had this opinion, but it is incredibly popular, especially on social media. I'm not sure about like out in the real world, but on social media, like it has to be propaganda. Do you know what I mean? Like there has to be money backing to push these narratives. There just has to be, because that came out of nowhere. The anti-Israel thing that's been around for a long time. There's been, especially in the conspiracy realm, there's been a lot of, conspiratard stuff as far as Israel goes. So that's not new. It's just never been this popular.
Right. That's kind of the point I'm trying to make, is that it just hasn't been this mainstream. And the money that's being pumped into it, for whether it's bots or it's actual people, I don't know. I think there is some bot traffic. There's bot traffic on every side of every major issue, especially the ones that are dividing the right. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Let me play some of this interview. and then we'll stop along the way.
Perception, here's the overview. So we're in this war. Obviously, I disapprove, whatever. I've said that many times. Then the president decides we're getting out, and the vice president articulates how and why.
Mhm.
And I couldn't be more supportive of that. I was thrilled by that. Thank God. And then all of a sudden, there is this just flurry of attacks on the president, but mostly on the vice president from people who don't have a alternative plan, but basically just calling the vice president to some extent the president names. It seemed to me as an outsider, less fluent on the internet than you are, that this is coordinated. Like, what is this? What are we looking at?
Well, it's a great observation. I believe that there definitely is a coordinated effort to put pressure on the president and the administration to continue the conflict in Iran. And I believe that there is potentially even foreign influence involved, and not just from one country. So I think it's definitely a coordinated effort. You're seeing a lot of these voices, they kind of move as a pocket. They talk about a lot of the similar issues. They oftentimes do the similar paid media campaigns around other related topics. And there's also evidence of millions and millions and millions of dollars flowing to certain right-wing influencer marketing companies from countries who might benefit from a prolonged conflict. So I believe there's definitely a coordinated effort. Similarly, right after the war was about to end, or I guess the MOU was coming out,
Yes.
a lot of the anti-war voices were also spreading misinformation about the deal. They were pushing a line about how the United States taxpayers were somehow going to give $300 billion to Iran. And I look at people like Thomas Massey, who's been on this program. He was very quick to share the statement saying that this MOU is terrible because we're going to give $300 billion to Iran, which is not true. It never was true. It's money that can be unlocked over time. Not a single dollar will come from American taxpayers. But people like Massey were also spreading misinformation. So I think that there's a lot of coordinated misinformation being spread from pro-war side and also some anti-war critics as well.
I'm going to stop on this real quick. I know we're only a couple minutes in, but that Thomas Massey piece, I actually covered that in a separate video. And it was Thomas Massey, it was MTG, it was a lot of these other, I would say bad faith actors out there that they are so, it's so emotional for them that even an elected representative doesn't have the self-control to say, you know what, I'm going to verify this as opposed to saying, I heard it from a friend who heard it from a friend who heard it from a friend, right? That there's $300 million. It's not part of it. It's never any U.S. taxpayer dollars. They either knew it or they were so emotional about seeing $300 billion in investment from other countries that they looked past all the actual data and said, let me release this to my millions and millions and millions of followers to gin up whatever preconceived notions I've got about the whole situation. You know?
Thomas Massey actually replied to this already on X. And he says, you must believe in Santa Claus if you think countries will freely give $300 billion to Iran to rebuild things we bombed to stop a war we started. We'll give those countries foreign aid, military assistance, and tariff waivers with an agreement that they'll forward funds to Iran. So Massey was already quick to find that part of the interview and do a response. He posted that 3 hours ago. I feel like this interview is barely... I don't even know, but it was today.
Yeah.
5 hours ago, maybe.
Interesting. So that's what he posted today.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, he ran with the, we don't have money to, I could probably find the X post, but it was, we don't have money for this, that, and the third, but we're going to spend $300 billion in Iran. That's like, well, we're not spending $300 billion we're not in the actual transfer of money. Now, and I guess I would have to see that post. Let me find it on X. What was it he said?
Here, I'll just tag you in a quick.
Let's see, because I'll pull this up and we can all look at it. You must be, okay, here it is. I found it. All right. So you must believe in Santa. Let me pull it up so everybody can see here. Well, that doesn't make it any bigger. You must believe in Santa Claus if you think countries will freely give $300 billion to Iran to rebuild things we bombed to stop a war we started. We'll give those countries foreign aid, military assistance, and tariff waivers with an agreement that they'll forward funds to Iran. I would like to know where he's getting that. I mean, these people. Yeah, I don't know. I honestly, I don't know. I'm kind of at a loss on that one. That doesn't pass the smell test to me.
Well, it's just a blanket statement.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. He's making a pretty bold assumption, I guess. Do we know that?
Well, it's just like, so are we not already giving those countries foreign aid, military assistance, tariff? Like, is it?
Well,
so he's just.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, if we're already doing that, now they can just be like, look, see, this is why. And we're just going to, like, we were probably going to do those things anyway.
Yeah. Well, our projection our projection in the Middle East with military installations and all of that, that's just like it is in Europe. That's a protection for our allies that still work with us in the Middle East. They were, and that's kind of the chicken and the egg situation. They say, well, when Iran started hitting Oman, they started hitting, Saudi Arabia, they started firing rockets at la-di-da-di everybody. The argument, of course, is, well, they wouldn't have done that if we hadn't attacked. And it's like, yeah, but the fact is, these people are supposed to, even though they're Sunni Shia, that's the big divide. There's some ideological similarities, I guess. The average Westerner thinks that they're just going to band together. But the fact that they attacked him at all speaks volumes of what they actually think of their people in the neighborhood. It's, I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with that.
I'm hoping that you get into the MOU and you break it down a little bit, because he talks about it, and I've seen people argue against the poll that he uses to demonstrate that. I think it's something like 67% of Americans are in support of the Iran deal that Trump is trying to make with the MOU. So I'm hoping you are a little bit more knowledgeable than I am on that, and we can talk about it.
Yeah, I can actually,
because I don't know what to think.
Well, it's a bad deal. I don't think that it's a great deal. A lot of people are saying that they're trying to that it's too closely aligned with the JCPOA, which is the original Iran deal we had before. The fact that it's releasing frozen funds, that it's allowing for this massive investment in Iran, that it also, this is something that Nick Matau got wrong in his debate, which is, it was the point about enrichment. It says that nuclear enrichment will maintain the status quo, which doesn't say that you stop enriching uranium. It just says that, okay, you can continue enriching, but at the lower levels, presumably, in the status quo, I assume, from what it says, is enough for energy, but not enough for weaponization. And then, of course, the anti-Israel folks is really what it is, because they're not pro anything. They're just anti-Israel. The anti-Israel people are saying, well, Tulsi Gabbard said that they didn't even have the ability to weaponize, but they'd only read a portion of her the quote that she made, which is that she did not believe that they were able to create weapons, nuclear weapons yet, but the level of enrichment they had reached was no country had ever reached that level without moving on to weaponization. Does that make sense? So there's a lot of stuff in it. I can go in point by point in that one if we want to. That might be something interesting to show to folks. But let me keep playing some of this, and then we'll come back to that. Sorry, that was a very good detour though.
Interesting. So can I just get your take on something before we proceed into the details of what you just alleged? You're alleging things, Alex Brusewitz, which seem true to me, but I want to know why you think it. But first to the question of the people criticizing the MOU. Mm-hmm. Okay, plenty of ways to criticize the MOU, but all of that criticism, I think, needs to be viewed in context of what the alternatives to the MOU might be. Like, okay, maybe you don't like the MOU, but then what?
Right.
Did any of the people in this campaign that you're describing offer like an alternative to the MOU? Like, we continue this war and then what happens?
Right. No, there's been no alternatives offered. There's just straight criticism. It's keyboard warriors. That's what we deal with. Fortunately, their opinions have very little impact on the electorate, the populace. You know, we've seen polling from Daily Mail, Fabrizio Lee, McLaughlin, all these different polls that show President Trump's MOU is widely popular with the American people. 67%.
Actually,
67%. And so
the framework of the settlement deal with Iran,
yes.
the 14 points that have been everywhere.
Yes. It's
67%.
67% of Americans who've been polled on that issue are supportive of the Trump-Vance agreement. But if you look at social media, you think that nobody's in favor of it because of coordinated influence campaigns from unique actors and foreign parties.
Okay, this is interesting. I'm not getting very far before I stop. I'm going to pull this one up, Rage, so that we can all look at this one. So these are the points. And what's in here? Let me find this. Let's see. Medium permanent termination of all military operations on all fronts. So some people have equated this falsely. Myron Gaines did this. Falsely said that this is us pulling anything and everything out of the Middle East, which is not the case. This is just saying anything that is, at least most people's reading of this is that anything in that region is, basically that's supporting the effort in Iran. That's going to be pulled out of the area. Let's see. Including in Lebanon, they mentioned Lebanon like 4 times in this one. So this is obviously alluding to Israel, saying that Israel is going to be removing itself from Lebanon. Let's see. Undertake to respect each other's sovereignty and territorial integrity. Let's see. I want to find the one about where was it? The one about enrichment. So this is covering the Strait of Hormuz. Said that the Republic of Iran will fully end the naval blockade within 30 days. During this period, the traffic of vessels will be in proportion to the numbers of pre-war traffic being restored by the Islamic Republic of Iran. The United States of America further undertakes to remove its forces from the proximity of the Islamic Republic of Iran within 30 days after the final deal. So it's not immediate, but once there's a deal done, they will remove all that. Upon the signing of this MOU, the Islamic Republic of Iran will make arrangements using its best efforts for the safe passage of commercial vehicles with no charge for 60 days only from the Persian Gulf to the Sea of Oman, and vice versa. The traffic of commercial vehicles will immediately start, and considering the need for removing the technical and military obstacles and demining the Islamic Republic of Iran will be instated within 30 days. So you got to pull all the mines, basically bring traffic back, all the shipping traffic back to the strait. 300 billion. So this is the one that Thomas Massey and Marjorie Taylor Greene and a lot of other people were jumping on board. It says the United States of America undertakes with regional partners to develop a definitive, mutually agreed plan with at least 300 billion for the reconstruction and economic development of the Islamic Republic of Iran. The mechanism for the implementation of this plan will be finalized as part of a final deal within 60 days. All required licenses, waivers, and provisions needed for the relevant financial transactions will be granted by the United States of America. So this is just saying that we can make deals, the rebuilding of Iran, these other countries can invest in Iran, in presumably, and you guys let me know down in the chat if I'm completely off on this, but this is to develop some sort of a partnership between these other Middle Eastern countries. And the question that I had about all this was, who are the people that are actually running Iran right now? And Trump, in an interview, he sidestepped this a bit and said, well, we think they're a little less radical. It's like, well, hang on a second. You're not speaking my speak here, Mr. President. A little less radical, you know? Yeah, let's clarify this a bit, because if we're going to turn over 300 billion in investments from other Islamic countries to a bunch of radicals that aren't any better than the ones that were in there before, what you got to square that circle for me.
So the complaint here is were you saying it's like it's too much like the original, what was it? Was that the JCPOA?
Yeah, the JCPOA.
That like Obama's deal and everything?
Yeah.
So did Trump just pull because he got rid of that in his first term, right?
Yes.
That was one of his like big favors for Israel was getting rid of the JCPOA.
Yeah.
So then Trump comes in and now he's just installing almost the same thing, and he can be like, "Ha, I got a deal done." That seems like a Trump thing, doesn't it?
It does. It does. But and this has been my beef with it. The other thing that's not as important as what's in here is what's not in here. And that is to say that there have to be stipulations, in my opinion, stipulations on funding extremism around the world, which is what Iran is notorious for doing. Obviously, they do it. I saw it for the 20 years that we were in. I wasn't there for the full 20, but obviously. But in Iraq, the EFPs, we knew where the EFPs were coming from. And they were the best EFPs because they were the ones that did what an EFP was supposed to do. They came from Iran.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but here's where I think that falls apart is I don't believe the United States has much leverage. I don't know if they could make a demand like that and realistically think that that's going to happen. This is, in my opinion, it's really not a good look. Because what's the leverage that the U.S. has over Iran?
Right now,
essentially war power.
Yes, exactly.
So we would have to go all out. Like that's the only leverage that we have. And I'm not convinced that Trump is willing to do that. And if Iran is not convinced that Trump is willing to do that, I don't see what leverage we have then.
Right. You are correct. Now is when we have the leverage, when we have the aircraft carriers and the battleships and all the assets that we have in that area, the bombers and all that good stuff. While we've got it in the region is when we have the most leverage. And once that's gone, then it's not going to be possible for Trump politically to, enforce anything that, other than
but Iran would also have to be worried about total and complete destruction. Like that would have to be a thing that they feared.
Yeah.
In order for that to even be leverage. So if they don't fear that, if the leaders of Iran don't fear that and are just like, do what you got to do. We're not playing this game.
Yeah. Well, and something I've heard other people pontificate about this, that, if we start producing we flood the market with a massive amount of oil, then we hurt Iran. It's like, yeah. And then we also hurt our other allies in the region. Should we care about that? I don't know. Maybe not. But, we've got more oil than we know what to do with. You drop it to about $35 a barrel and everybody is sucking. You know what I'm saying? And be like, all right, guys, you have to figure it out. You need to figure out how to grow, soybeans in the deserts of Iran. And then you can grow avocados over there and feed all the lefties. They can have their avocado toast, and there you go. It can be your big export. But
I don't know. I think the entire thing is a really big mess.
Yeah.
And I do think Trump is managing it fairly well, because this could go sour and bad, really quick.
Yes. Yes, it can. I'm trying to think if there's any other. Oh, here's the other one, the nuclear. So, it says the Islamic Republic of Iran reaffirms that it shall not procure or develop nuclear weapons. So specifies that. However, the United States of America and the Islamic Republic of Iran have agreed to solve the disposition of stockpiled enriched material pursuant to a mechanism that will be mutually agreed upon in accordance with the schedule mentioned in paragraph 7, with a minimum methodology to be down blended on site during the supervision of the IAEA. The two parties also agree to discuss the issue of enrichment and other mutually agreed matters. Based on this, where was it? Final deal for the United States, Islamic Republic. Where was it? This expressed their intention to immediately address these issues in negotiations in order to achieve mutual agreement. That's not the one I was looking for. Oh, here it is. Pending the final deal, the United States of America and the Islamic Republic of Iran agree to maintain the status quo. The Islamic Republic will maintain the current status quo of its nuclear program, and the United States of America will not impose any new sanctions and will not deploy additional forces in the region. So I guess the way I read it, I guess it can be read two ways. And I could be missing something because I'm not that bright. And that is that either whatever's left over you can keep based on the previous stipulations. If you've got enough to make nuclear weapons, or you've got stockpiles that are buried underground, we have to be given access to that, and it has to be destroyed, or it has to be de-weaponized, whatever the process is. I don't know. I'm not a nuclear guy. But you can keep whatever, power production that you've got when it comes to the nuclear material, nuclear fuel. I don't know if you read it a different way, but that's what it looks like to me. And people.
No, I think you're pretty accurate. Here's my question. What do you think the initial goal was from Trump? Because I feel like they did not do a very good job of messaging at all on this thing. Like, I understand the whole Iran can't have nukes. Trump's been saying that forever, right?
Yeah.
But just that was just the initial stated goal of this entire, whatever you want to call it. Like, there had to be more to it. So I'm just wondering what your opinion is. Like, what you think the real goal was, aside from the Israel assumption and that it was all Israel's idea, because I'm sure Israel played a part. I'm sure they absolutely wanted it, right? But Trump, there was also something else there. There has to be. Trump's not just going to do what Israel tells him to do. I don't believe that for a second. Never have.
He is, and that's actually the clip that I'm going to play from this Nick Matau interview, where he lays it out very, very well. But here's what I think. Before I play this one, guys, I'm bouncing around, but that's okay. This is good. I'm glad we're talking about this. He changed consistently. Donald Trump did. At 1 minute, it was nuclear weapons, and then it was ballistic missiles. So they didn't want the ballistic missile shield, and all that was saying, all right, if they have enough ballistic missiles to overwhelm any of the defenses of the surrounding countries, then once they hit that point, there is, without massive investment in ballistic missile defense for everybody in the region, they basically, it's an impenetrable shield of ballistic missiles, rockets, and all that. So they wanted to destroy that, degrade that, and get it back to however many years ago, whatever their stockpile numbers were. So that was one point. Nuclear weapons was the big one. So that was another big point. But since then, they have added, okay, the Air Force, we've destroyed their Air Force, we've destroyed their Navy. It's like, okay, well, we never talked about that before. You know what I'm saying? But that's been a part of it as well. So they sank all their ships, they've destroyed all their aircraft. My guess during all this, and honestly my hope, was that the Iranian people would rise up against the regime and there would be some sort of a takeover by the people. And that hasn't happened. I guess that they underestimated the bench for for the regime. You know what I mean?
I think somebody, I really like conspiracy, like that side of the aisle. I don't think that they're too far off. I think somebody did a really good job convincing Trump that it was going to be easy. That, like, you just go in and drop a couple of bombs, take out this regime. People are going to rise up, and we're going to have a more favorable government takeover that is, going to work with everybody. I really think that's what happened. And I think after that didn't happen right away. And it's just my opinion, just from watching Trump, the fact that all of these things kept coming up and changing, Trump was trying to save face a little bit and find a way out of this as quick as he could. Yeah. And that's why we have now what essentially is sort of Obama 2.0 plan here, just as a way to try to get out with something. Because I was never convinced that Trump was just going to put boots on the ground and was going to go full scale, like all the way. Trump has never, and I said this on my live yesterday, I've never gotten the vibe from Trump that he's pro-war in any way, shape, or form.
No, he's not. But the Iran thing is something that you can go back to the 80s that he has talked about. This has been a hot button issue for him. And Tucker did this, we were just talking about Tucker, and I think I only got 3 minutes into his interview, by the way, before he mentioned a dozen things that we wanted to talk about, or I wanted to talk about. But, Tucker was the doomer. It was up as soon as we did this. 30,000 are going to lose. You know, this is going to be World War III. This is going to be cataclysmic. All these horrible things, and here we are, 90 days later. We've destroyed their military, destroyed their ballistic missile stockpile. We are negotiating a peace with them, and we're doing something that a lot of the folks from Israel do not like. So that debunks the whole Trump he's led around by the nose from Bibi Netanyahu. No, Trump got the intel. This is what we always say about the president. The president he views intelligence that we don't have to make the decisions that we can't make for trying to make the best decision he can for the country. We've had presidents in the past, really Barack Obama was the last one, and Joe Biden was just being led around by the ideologues, but they were making ideological decisions. Trump isn't an ideologue. Trump is he's what's going to be best for the economy, what's going to be best for American business, what's going to make us energy independent, what's going to hurt China. I think a lot of this, I dropped a comment actually in your live stream yesterday, that this part of this was a win-win for Trump in that he can weaken China because of the disruption of the fuel supplies, because the disruption of oil, because he's done the same thing in Venezuela. Greenland is part of that. Cuba is going to be part of that. All this is about controlling our hemisphere, going back to old school, dominance for America. We might not.
Yeah, and Trump isn't the crazy madman that he tries to portray himself to be either. It's all, you know what I mean? It's all, there's all a method to his madness. I think Trump is really big on diplomacy with geopolitics, with other world leaders, not Democrats, obviously, but everybody else. He's a deal maker. You know what I mean? He likes to make deals. It's an ego thing for him, I think, but it's also, I think he wants America to benefit as well. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it sure seemed that a lot of people were convinced or wanted Trump to sort of go all the way when it came to this Iran thing and go full scale, boots on the ground invasion, wipe out the leadership completely, install a new whatever, and go on from there. And I just never thought that was Trump. So this whole, and he's had his beef with Bibi in the past. We know that. But Trump also, I don't know if I want to, he's doing Israel a favor, right? He's favorable towards Israel. He always has been. So when this came up and they had their intelligence, you know what I mean? I'm sure Israel had theirs and then we had ours and they're sharing. I'm sure that he saw it as an opportunity of maybe almost like, okay, you know what? We'll go along with this part of it to appease Israel, right? What can we get out of this as well? And then I think it just all kind of fell apart. I think you're right. I think they underestimated.
I'll actually push back on that a little bit. I think that well, let me play this. Actually, I'm kind of drawing my conclusion based on this description here because this one really resonated with me. And I thought, okay, I've never thought of it this way. Let me play this first. I'll let Nick Matau make my argument for me. How about that?
Dude, Nick looks like a psycho.
He really does. And for anybody that didn't watch this, it's like 3 hours long. And it was after they had done another 2-hour one where Myron was just, the guy, it's just ad hominem. He's, you're a retard, and the fat guy running the live stream or running the debate, fatty this, fatty that. I mean, it was so childish. But nonetheless, Nick Matau, his power of recollection is ridiculous. Let's play this one, and it's a little bit. He kind of walks into it. Let's play it.
But
and by the way, for my regular watchers, I know I've seen some of the people in the chat. You're not going to care about the bad language, but I usually tell some of my milder folks, I did not bleep this, so we're just running with it.
I am saying is that Iran has been a threat.
Israel dragged us in? Do you agree that Israel dragged us in?
Nobody can drag us in. We make that decision ourselves. No, I'm serious. You can laugh at that, but can you debunk that? We drag ourselves in or don't. Israel does not have the ability. In fact, you admitted to this earlier, actually. Israel does not have the ability to force us into anything. So if you want to say Trump made a bad decision by listening, whatever, you do you. But to try to twist that into they dragged us in, that's fucking insane. Of course they didn't drag us. We are the United States of fucking America. If we want to get into something, then take the ownership and say we did that. Don't try to put this on some country that's the size of New Jersey, because what you're trying to do is you're trying to take away responsibility of anyone, including whether it's Trump or whatever.
I said Trump is a moron for that. I've said that a million times. Trust me, I voted for Trump and I've been extremely critical of this Iran war. But I do think it's fair to say that he relied upon faulty Israeli intelligence, and then also the fact that when Israel attacks, American bases are going to be attacked, and it forced his hand. Okay?
Yeah,
like,
so
that's where he had to get involved.
That's nonsense. Obviously,
dragged in.
So you're telling me? Let me ask you a question. So when Bibi had this secret meeting, when he went around the back and he had this meeting and he provided 2 different options, which one did Trump pick in those options? Did he pick the first one where he said, "Hey, we're not going to get involved, but good luck to you guys," or did he say, "We'll get involved"? When was that? Or which one did he pick? I'm sorry.
When he actually, I don't know when he actually confirmed. I know that he met with obviously Marco Rubio, JD Vance, Hegseth, and they had a discussion. They went over the pros and the cons. And then obviously he made the decision. So I don't know if he made the decision right then and there when Netanyahu was there. But
but was it before February 28th at least that he made the decision?
Of course, yeah.
Okay. So let me get this straight. So you just walked yourself into a corner, and I'll tell you why. Because either he picked the first option, like you guys do it on your own, but we got you. We'll cheer you on from the sidelines, or he picked the "we'll join you." Clearly, it's the second one, because you just admitted he would have picked the option before February 28th. So if he picked option 1, like, yeah, Israel's got this, he would have obviously, like you just said, he would have informed Marco Rubio, Pete Hegseth, etc., JD Vance, and he would have said, "Hey, Israel's going to attack Iran, and America's not going to get involved." Okay, they already gave me the option. I picked option 1. If that was the case, well, then you just debunked yourself about Marco Rubio saying, "Well, we only attacked because they attacked and we had to get involved." Or you're saying they picked option 2, Trump did, and he said to Marco Rubio, JD Vance, Pete Hegseth, "Hey, they're going to attack Iran sometime in the future. We're going to join them." And they probably had some agreements and said, "Okay, this is the plan. We pick option 2. Well, then Israel attacks on February 28th, and then that was part of the plan anyways. So which one was it? That he picked option 1, according to this anonymous source, and it wouldn't have mattered, and it debunks the Marco Rubio thing? Or did he pick option 2 and it was all according to plan anyways?
Okay, nice try. But you actually walked yourself into a trap. This is exactly why Donald Trump started building a military presence in the region for months beforehand. Why? Because Donald Trump is an erratic decision maker. So it depends on how he feels on the day. You walk him into whatever. So what the president likes to do, and Pete Hegseth has said this a million times, we like to give the president options. So what they did was they surrounded Iran, created an enormous amount of military presence there, because whether they decided to attack or not, it's obviously going to be scary. Like, oh my God, we're going to get attacked. And he had been assembling this for a very long time. So,
right, so which option did he take?
Why they did that, and it goes back to what I told you about before. The Israelis were planning to kill these guys. They made the decision that they wanted to kill Ali Khamenei on or about November of 2025 after the 12-day war failed. But they knew that after the 12-day war and they weren't able to get what they wanted. Yes, they tried to do a decapitation strike. They failed. They couldn't kill Ali Khamenei. The United States and Israel knew that they were going to go back in, and they made the decision to go ahead and kill Ali.
Which one did they pick, option 1 or option 2?
What I am saying is that he kept his options open, mobilized military.
That's not what you just said. You said, of course, he picked one of the options before February 28th. Are you walking that back? Or you can tell me which option he picked, 1 or 2.
Nick, I don't know when he specifically said at the time and day saying we are going to go to war. But what I am telling you is that he had all of the assets ready to go so that he can make the decision. We know how Donald Trump is.
So which one did he pick? I don't care what day it was. I didn't ask for that. Which one did he pick? Option 1 or option 2?
He went with attacking Iran.
Okay, and he picked that before February 28th. So he picked option 2, according to you.
Yes, but what I'm telling you is...
And you agree that option 2 was specifically that we are going to attack with Israel, and that we're not going to do just Israel by themselves, because that was option 1. So if he picked that prior to February 28th, then you lied earlier when you said the only reason we got in the war is because they attacked and we didn't want to, but we had to.
No. What I am...
This is like the whole...
I don't know what Myron was thinking. Like there's no way Myron went into this going like, "Oh yeah, I got this." Good. Even if you don't agree with Nick, you better be really good at debating, or he is going to dog walk you like crazy. Yeah. Like that. I mean, I'm sure Myron's followers loved it and thought he won, but anybody with common sense, just off of that clip, like that's not a good look for Myron at all.
He was the analogy I used was he was backtracking like a convict running from a bloodhound, man. he was trying so hard, and you get in these when you got somebody that has mental, he's able to pull these things up like recall. When his recall is as strong as Nick Matau's, dude, you better go in. You're right, guns ablazing. You better have all of your facts ready to roll and right at the tip of your tongue. Because this guy was naming hospitals, like the different when they were talking about the hospitals that have been bombed. And, Myron was talking about things like, they were carpet bombing. And he brought up the perfectly valid point that, well, Israel doesn't have bombers. They have fighter aircraft, and you can't carpet bomb with fighter aircraft. But it was just like little things like this. And then he says, oh, well, the hospitals. Okay, well, we could talk about this hospital, or we could talk about the Al-Shah whatever, or the Abu whatever. He just kept rolling all these hospitals. They're actually, and I was fact checking them. I was sitting there going there, I'm like, crap, this is like one of the hospitals. And he sat there and listed off 20 of them. It was really wild. It's really wild. But the point is, these decisions were made beforehand. And to say that, well, a bad or an impromptu decision by Israel forced our hand, the timeline doesn't match up with that. And
well, it doesn't. It's a stupid point to begin with. Let's just say that Israel, we were going to do it anyway, right? Like that was going to happen anyway. We had already made the decision to do that. It may have just not been on that day. Israel may have jumped the gun, or we're going to jump the gun. So we just but it wouldn't have changed anything.
Right. Yeah, no.
So it's a stupid point. That doesn't prove that Israel made us do anything if we were already positioned to do it.
But it plays very well with the people like Myron and others who are, you step on a Lego, getting a cup of coffee in the morning, and it was a Jew that put it there. It was Israel, Mossad put it there. You know what I'm saying? There's not a problem in this world that can't be linked to Israel. Not to say that they haven't caused some too, to be perfectly honest, but not everything. It's the old, if you believe in no conspiracies, then you're an idiot. If you believe everything's a conspiracy, then you're an idiot. That's really what the ones that are after the star people, or that, as you were calling them, the star people. I don't know. YouTube is funny. You know what I mean? You got to come up with different phrases for things. Yeah. Star people is a good one. Yeah. I'm going to play some more of this because I think this is like another 5 minutes left on this one. I'm going to keep rolling with it. You cool with that?
Yeah, run it.
Thing is that it was split. I know Marco Rubio was questioning it. JD Vance was questioning it. Hegseth was like, hey, let's do it. So when they first heard the briefing from Netanyahu, obviously they're deliberating, talking about it, etc. But that does not change the fact that Trump had assets in the region so that he can make a decision when it's go time. He obviously sat on it for a while. That's the way Donald Trump is. With the 12-day war, what did he do? He waited last minute. I'm going to go ahead and do Operation Midnight Hammer now. That's the way he is.
That's awesome. None of this has to do with okay, sure.
This is all extremely pertinent.
Sure.
This is all extremely pertinent to the discussion.
But you agree prior to February 28th.
You're trying to pinpoint a time when he made the decision. Yep. I don't know that.
I never asked when, because you already said it was before February 28th. That's good enough for me. I don't need to know if it was 27th or 26th or 25th. You're trying to pretend I'm asking that. Never once asked that. I've said multiple times, I don't care what day. As long as we agree that it was before February 28th, it doesn't matter what fucking day he did it. I don't care. But you said he picked option 2. That is clearly from your mouth, from these anonymous sources, whatever that you believe in. But if you believe in it, you have to stick with it. You said he picked option 2 prior to February 28th, which means prior to Israel striking, he already picked in his mind that they were going to strike with Israel. That's what option 2 was. And that's what you said he agreed to prior to February 28th. So the earlier sentiment of, no, we only did it because we had to because Israel struck, is now void. It's dumb. It's not reason to bring it up because you just said over and over that he picked option 2 when Netanyahu provided it to him. This is not hard.
I literally just told you, when the plan was presented, he didn't say yes right then and there.
I know. Don't know why that matters.
Obviously, he met with his people and everything else like that.
Agreed.
Okay. So We don't know when he actually made that decision. The bottom line I'm trying to make to you is this.
Is it just weird? Does he keep saying the same thing over and over and over again?
He has nothing. He's got nothing. So he kind of has to. I mean, or he could just not talk, which might be better in this case. But
Yeah, I mean, at that point, it's like, okay, I concede. Can we move on to the next point, please? Oh man,
That have to do with my point. It doesn't matter when he made the decision. The fact is that he made the decision. You keep bringing that up as if it matters. It doesn't matter.
Yes, and a part of the reason why he made that decision, I'm sure, that played into it was like, well, if we don't get involved, we might get hit back.
Yeah, that's
by
a
the Iranians, 'cause
speculation.
They told us that they would.
Yeah, this is speculation. This is speculation. I don't care.
Before the war, that's not speculation. The Iranians literally said an attack from one will be considered an attack by both. They
That's
literally
great.
said that.
Don't care.
And that was
it doesn't
leading up-
matter.
that's extremely pertinent. That's extremely pertinent to the
he
argument.
picked option
Extremely
2, and that is what you said. I don't give a shit if it was this day or the next day or the day after. He picked option 2, which means your original point of what you thought earlier is now null and void. It doesn't matter because you just admitted that he picked option 2.
Here's the problem, Nick. You're not understanding that this was a multi-variable based decision that he made on a enormous amount of facts that were happening real time. And what you're trying to do is say, no, it was just this one thing that led to him making this decision. There were other things probably that we don't know about that is classified that went into his decision making. That's the reality. We don't know what was in his mind at the time. What I do know is that he had assets ready to go so that he can make the decision at the time so he would be able to cover himself. If I want to get involved in the conflict, I can. If I don't want to get involved in the conflict, I don't have to. It's better to have and not need than need and not have. That's simple, dude. You're sitting here saying like you think it's like one variable that made him made this decision. No, dude, there's a bunch of different variables that went into him. That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to make it one thing.
So this point that he's making, by the way, debunks himself, saying that Trump had all of these things that he had to consider. He had to move all the assets into the region. He had this option. He had that option. He had this option. I thought he only had one option, which is whatever Bibi told him to do, because that's what they've been running with ever since.
He had all this intel that he had to consider and think and strategize and plan with. Oh, I thought Israel just forced us into it. I thought he didn't have a choice. What is there to consider if you're being controlled?
Exactly. And he doesn't realize he's doing it. It's really wild. And to think you're winning that. Oh, I'm sorry. The whole time I listened to the entire debate. I was pulled into the whole thing. One of the points, I'm going to see if I can pull it up because I think this just keeps going on and on about this one. Well, let's listen to it. It's only another 3 minutes.
I'm telling you that
run it.
I'm telling you, it's far more complex than what you're trying to assimilate, where it's just Netanyahu attacking. There's other factors that were involved as well. I
was using your own words that you said. I didn't say any of that stuff. You're just adding all that in. I never said any of that. I took what you said, what you believe to be true.
Because you're downgrading the complexity of the decision that what went into the decision. I'm giving you just parts of what made him probably decide that, but it's not just Israel attacking him while we got dragged in. There were other things. His ego, a legacy. He had Venezuela. He got Venezuela quickly. 96 hours. You'll have the oil of Iran. Then you could go to China. There was a bunch of different things going on in Trump's head.
So we didn't get dragged in.
Decision.
Perfect. So we didn't get dragged in. You just think Trump was high ego and he's dumb.
Two things can be true at once, at the same time. Two things can be true. It could be he had an ego while simultaneously also making a bad decision. Like
I agree with that. Just definitely not because we got dragged in. Because earlier you said the only reason we entered was specifically because they launched, so we felt like we had to. But then you came up with this magical meeting, right? But that's not true at all because he already picked option 2 before that day even happened. Anyways, we don't know exactly which day, but definitely before February 28th. So he had already told Israel, because obviously after he talks with Marco Rubio and Pete Hegseth and JD Vance, he's gonna obviously tell Israel, all right, thanks for the offering both plans. We're going to go with option 2. All of this would have been, regardless of what day it was, would have been before February 28th by your own admission. So Israel was operating under the fact that they were confirmed option 2. That's your words. I said what you said, and it was before February 28th. So why should we blame Israel?
Missing all the other stuff that
why should we blame Israel for thinking, oh, okay, hey, now Bibi goes to his cabinet. Hey, just so you guys know, America picked option 2. So we're going to attack on, and I'm sure they planned it out. We're going to do it on this day. We'll inform America. All of this happened before February 28th by your own admission.
Again, You are just pinning it on one thing.
I'm not pinning on one thing, but that's a pretty complex thing. That's
you're
something
purposely
pretty
being dense now. It's like you're purposely being dense and like you're not analyzing that this was a complex decision that had many multiple factors. It wasn't just the Israelis attacking and us being inevitably attacked back. It was other things as well. And then you add in Trump's erratic decision making. Nobody knows what Trump is going to do, bro. That's just the way he is. He makes decisions like day of, right? So, I mean, hell, Tucker Carlson went and begged him not to go to the war a couple of days before he attacked. Like, you know what I mean? Like Charlie Kirk did the same thing.
Tucker
so
Carlson.
he makes decisions. He makes decisions like day of, pretty much. So like this is just like you're.
Listen,
I don't know what's going on here.
This is a different subject, and I agree with you
And that's
that
fine. We're at an
Trump
impasse.
is. This is just a different subject. It's just Trump is definitely he speaks in
I know you
grandiose
support
measures. I don't
Israel.
really care.
I love it. It was so good.
I didn't expect this to go any other way.
Yeah.
I haven't watched. This is the first I'm watching this, and
Oh man.
it's exactly how I thought it would go.
There's
There was how long was this debate?
oh, let's see. It was 3 hours and 25 minutes, and that was after they had done a separate like 2 hour live. Like they would literally went from 1 2 hour debate, which was just ad
So this
hominem
was-
and talking over each other. But,
Was that on TikTok? Well, like, was the original first couple hours on TikTok, and then they went? Did they do this on YouTube or Rumble or something?
They did this on YouTube. So the first one was on TikTok, and
Okay.
yeah. So the first one TikTok, and Amur, or I think, is that how you say it? Is it Amur? Amru Fuddle, Myron. So
Myron.
yeah, that's his actual
Yeah.
name, is like Amru or something. But yeah, Myron started throwing out terms that he knew would get the video banned from TikTok.
Oh, okay. So
And-
it was on somebody else's TikTok that he was doing this on.
Yes. So it was on, well, Nick, I think was putting it out on his, and
Okay.
there was another guy that was moderating. And so I think it was predominantly his account. Like that's the one that was, they were highlighting. Let's see. But yeah, anyway, they said, all right, fine, I'm going live at 8:30. They popped on over to his channel, and this is when this one started. But yeah, it was this download here was 3 hours and 25 minutes.
3 hours and 20, and it's all on Iran and Israel.
Yeah. Like it was, dude.
How?
I don't know. Like here, let me play this one. This is at approximately 22. Well, let me go to 1 hour, 50 minutes. Well, there's a couple of them here. 22 minutes.
And Nick played just that little clip. He played that part brilliantly. He just shut up and let Myron talk. It was great.
Yeah. Just twirl.
Just not go ahead. Keep going. Keep digging.
Yeah. So what's that stuff he was spraying in his mouth? I want to know. Is there nicotine spray?
There might be, but what fun is that?
Yeah, seriously. No, I don't know how people do that without some kind. I mean, is it Adderall? Is that what? I mean, I don't know.
Oh, that could be.
I don't know. I mean, it wouldn't be in the spray, but I don't know what in the world you would take to stay that focused for that long. And maybe it's just because I'm an idiot. I mean, it's quite possible. My brain just can't keep it up for that long. Let me play a little bit of this one. This is some more good stuff.
Gonna be like, hey, what family are you from? And let's say you're Mossad agent, you're like, oh, I'm from this family. They're gonna be like, no, that's my family. I know they can't have that in Gaza.
I understand that. It's not, of course. Again, I'm giving you all the different tools that they're utilizing to do their strikes. So when they have these capabilities, I just look at it like, okay, you have these capabilities. Why are you bombing the entire area, destroying 70% of the infrastructure, killing a bunch of people, when you have capabilities where you can assassinate someone like Ismail Haniyeh in a oppositional country secretly, right?
Because
or when they did that Operation Rising Lion, where they're able to get behind enemy lines, assemble drones, attack them from behind, destroy their air defense. Like, you have the capability of doing all these things, but in Gaza, where Hamas is a joke of a military group, let's be honest, they're rinky-dink paramilitary group using like World War II weaponry. Like, you can't go ahead and be more sophisticated with your attacks on
Why
here
would
and get rid
they?
of their infrastructure there.
Why would they? It's the same thing if when we took out Osama bin Laden, it was a completely different type of operation than when we're bombing other areas like Mosul, for example. It's not because you're just choosing one time to do this and one time to do the other. It's completely different operations. For Gaza, they made it very clear. They didn't say we're going after every single person that puts on a green headband and screams Allahu Akbar. They don't care about that. You're not going to defeat the ideology of Hamas. They'll either continue to exist because there's always going to be Islamist extremists, or they'll just find another group. But that's never
ideology,
right? But that's never what Israel said. Israel said that they wanted to eliminate the offensive capabilities of Hamas or terrorists. So for that, you absolutely take down that building, and you absolutely fucking should. And the first thing you should do to make sure you don't do genocide is get them out of that area. And that's why you see a 3% death rate for a 70% destruction of buildings.
Okay. What I'm saying though is that I get that.
That by the way was a point that was brilliant. I haven't heard anybody make that one. That it's very true that there's 70,000. By the way, I wasn't planning on getting into an in-depth conversation about the Gaza thing, but the Matau thing pulled me in. This debate did. That it was very interesting that there's 70,000. That's the numbers from Hamas, and with the 70,000, it's 70 to 90% of the buildings have been destroyed. That math doesn't math. That when it's indiscriminate, if it was indiscriminate, there would be hundreds of thousands, if not 500,000, based on or more. I mean, it could be 1 million people based on 90% of the buildings being destroyed. But it certainly is a component of saying, well, they were warning people to get out. They got out, then they destroyed the building, and 70% of the place has been wrecked. But the casualties don't line up with that. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Where's the reporting on the casualty number coming from? Like, is that sort of both sides are sort of agreeing on that number, or is that 70,000 coming from
the Gaza Health Ministry is where it comes from, and I think Israel has acknowledged it, saying, "Yep, we'll go with that number. That's fine." Is
anybody reporting a higher number than 70,000? I guess would be a better question. Like any, I don't know if I want to say reputable, but is there any what would appear to be reputable?
No, the
source.
No, so the Gaza Health Ministry is Hamas. I mean, it's controlled by Hamas, and they're given those numbers. A lot of people say, well, they're probably going to figure high, so it could be less than that, but there's also the people that are buried under rubble, because there are people buried under rubble. And the number for that is around 10,000 is what they're saying. Now, I mentioned Ibrahim, what's his name? First name, is it Alexander Ibrahim? What's his name? Hang on. I've been watching his stuff a ton lately. And he talks about I don't know if I want to go down that route or not. He was talking about other conflicts over the years where numbers are reported, people run with those numbers, and they find out 2, 3, 4 years later, and this is from other Islamic extremist organizations, that they were skewed in favor of their opponent. And it's because there's deception, and then there's hiding it, and then there's the public moving on, and then they actually find out the true numbers, and it doesn't favor them. And doesn't favor their case, it favors the other people's case, whoever their opponents are. And he cited 4 or 5 different examples of this. So we really don't know, I guess is the question. Hamas isn't going to be honest and upfront or forthright about it. I don't think anybody would say that they would. But anyway, those whole numbers, that they didn't jive. If you destroy 70% of a place indiscriminately,
and what percentage of that 70,000 is supposed to be like actual Hamas?
And that's another thing nobody knows. And Myron used during this debate, he did the similar thing. He said, okay, well, it's 70,000 that were unalived. Okay, how many of those are Hamas? Well, we don't know, but he keeps running with 70,000, even though numbers can be anywhere from 20%, 50%, I don't know what they are. They're still low in a dense for, where was that? I can't remember where I got it from.
Hamas, they don't keep like a checklist. They don't have like check-in times. Be like, oh crap, Bob and Ted didn't show up today.
No.
Must have.
I was researching this a while back, and this is why I could never debate Nick Matau, because my recall is really sucking right now. But I was researching past military conflicts and number of civilian casualties to combatants, and it's wildly skewed. I mean, these numbers are never as close as they are in Gaza, because you're talking about like 2 to 1 in some estimates. That is very low for densely populated urban environments. You could look at Dresden, you could look at Tokyo, you could look at any of the places where we've bombed major metropolitan areas, or the civilian casualty rates are absolutely through the roof. In this one, it's so close to that 2 to 1, 3 to 1, even with the numbers. It's very low. Not to say that it's excusable. You don't want civilian casualties, but for a densely populated urban environment, it is incredibly low. But then again, it does.
So
he would run with
when you say the math isn't mathing,
yes,
you're talking about the exaggerated number of, what was it, 80% of the structures or something have been destroyed?
Well, I don't think that's necessarily exaggerated, because we don't fully know. There's some people that say 70% of Gaza has been destroyed. Other people say that 90% of Gaza has been destroyed or damaged, buildings destroyed or damaged. If that's the case, and what Myron kept running with was, well, it's indiscriminate. Everything is indiscriminate bombing. There's some discriminate, but there's a lot of indiscriminate bombing. If that's the case, and people don't know, and you destroy 70% of the structures, destroy or damage 70% of the structures that all the people are living in, this is all the buildings, all of the infrastructure that's there, your casualty rates would be significantly closer to that 70% mark of people, when it's not. It's like 2 or 3% of the population.
Maybe I missed what point he was trying to make with that. But couldn't you give warnings to tell people to get out of buildings? We're going to be attacking them, and still indiscriminately destroy property?
Yes,
without having casualties.
Technically, yes, but they are saying that the targeting in general of people and all is indiscriminate. They're tying it to the civilian casualties in Gaza.
Okay.
So yes, technically, I guess indiscriminate. But here's the other piece of it: the term, I mentioned it earlier.
But 70 to 90% doesn't sound indiscriminate though either. That sounds like very intentional.
Yeah.
to destroy 70 to 90% I feel like that's not indiscriminate.
Yeah.
When you're blowing everything up, I feel like that's the opposite of indiscriminate.
Yeah. But I think for our considerations, the terminology does matter. They've used the term, Anna Kasparian has used it. This guy Myron uses it. Other people use it. They're carpet bombing.
Yeah, sure. It sounds bad.
Yeah, it sounds bad, but that's not at all what's happening, because they don't even have the capacity to technically carpet bomb, as they're envisioning, you look out the bomb sight of a B-26 or a B-20, whatever the bombers were, B-24, and you're dropping bombs indiscriminately all over the air. They don't even have the capacity to do that. They're F-16s and F-22s, and those aren't going to carpet bomb anything. They've got rocket systems. It's not technically carpet bombing anything either. So it's just a scary term that they use. Not to downplay, by the way, the violence. This all needs to get wrapped up,
But this is exactly why Israel's in the predicament that they're in right now, right? If they had been a bit more patient, a bit more refined, be a bit more discriminate, not rely so much on lavender and these, ridiculous ratios. I know what people are going to say. Hey, well, these ratios are the best in modern warfare. Fine. But it's not, it's not the 1950s.
What's wrong with lavender exactly?
Well, that was the AI program that they were using.
They don't use that solely. There's like a system of like 8 different things. Lavender is one thing. We do the same thing. So does every other.
It's one of them.
What's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that.
Well, it was having some pretty high ratios of, Hamas fighter to civilians. So
right. That's why there's another 7 steps or whatever it is. It's not like they just do that only.
Here's the thing. You're saying, hey, it's a war. Just do it. I'm saying, cool, you do that. This is why everyone hates Israel now. Does that make sense? So they looked at it like, let's just bomb the place. Let's get rid of these guys. And this is exactly why Israel's the most hated country in the world right now, because in their pursuit of removing Hamas by any means necessary and bombing the entire infrastructure, they killed a lot of people. I think that's irrefutable.
Wasn't that much?
A significant amount of innocent people, a lot of children. This looks horrible. And this is why no one likes Israel. And the thing is that they have the ability to do better and assassinate. They're the number one country for assassination. So
well, hold on, they have done better. Can you name anyone else that will actually? First off, remember, Gaza's very unique because, for example, in Mariupol, when Russia goes in the first 25 days, there's some reports, we don't know the actual numbers because Russia still controls them. They won't allow anyone to go check it. They won't allow anyone to investigate it. But there's some numbers based off of satellite imagery and mass graves where, and remember, Mariupol is a place of like, I think 410,000. So it's like 1/4, 1/5 the size of Gaza. In 25 days, so let's just call it a month, they killed about as many people. And again, some reports would say even more than Israel did in Gaza in the whole almost 3 years now. And again, that's in a place that has significantly smaller population. So if you go per capita, it definitely is a lot more. They did that in 1 month. Now, why did Russia not kill even more than that? Because the Ukrainians, and just like any other war in history, Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan, they got to get the fuck out of the way. But the Gazans, we were in a very unique position. Not only is it a tiny, tiny little strip of land, but the Arabs said, fuck you guys, close the door on them, you guys stay in there. So even with that context, Israel, again, we have a 3% death, right? And we have 70% destruction of buildings, if not more. So that shows very clearly that they did go out of their way to make sure they didn't kill people, because if they didn't give a shit, these percentages would be, if not the same, closer to the same. That's just math.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Like, oh, well, it's only 3%. I'm just not going to accept that. And the reason why I'm not going to accept that is because the Israelis, right? Keep in mind, October 7th happened. They lost 1,200 people, and then what did they do in retaliation? They responded by bombing Gaza, destroying 70% of the infrastructure, and killing 70,000 plus people, many of them being children. So again, this is like that crazy double standard that I criticize Zionists for. When we talk about Palestinians, it's like, it's war, bro. It's no big deal. 70,000, that's casualty of war. They shouldn't have started the war, right?
I wanted the Palestinians to get out. I wanted them to not be in that area.
I'm giving you the typical Zionist/Israeli government thing.
Okay.
But when we talk about Israelis, right, 1,200 of them die, it's a catastrophe. It's the worst thing ever. We're going to get them and we're going to destroy them. I mean, Yoav Gallant literally said, we're going to cut off the water. We're going to cut off the food. They're human animals, blah, blah, blah. So my issue is that we do not exercise the same degree of, humanity for Palestinians that we do for Israelis. And then we give Israelis like full-on authority and power. You know what? Just bomb them. Who cares? You kill 70,000. It's only 3% while destroying 70% of the infrastructure. No big deal. So that's the issue here, right? Is the
but the difference is one is a response. Yeah, go ahead.
I get that. And you made the argument earlier that proportionality doesn't matter. I think it does. And that is a big reason why Israel, their reputation is in the shitter right now internationally. And this is why so many people don't like Israel, because I know what you're saying. Proportionality might not matter from a warfare standpoint, from a military standpoint, from a strategic standpoint, but I'm talking from a holistic perspective where this looks optically horrible for Israel. It is why they are an isolated country now. This is why no one likes Israel. So I see what you're saying, but in my eyes, you're saying that the ends justify the means. I'm saying they don't justify, and Israel's painted themselves in a corner and hurt themselves diplomatically long term.
Yeah, a couple things, and sure, I
Myron
agree
made a
slightly
pretty good
to
point
that,
there. There's a lot of people that would agree with Myron on that.
Yeah. Well, I don't think that it's yes, they have, first off. But it's not because there's a whole social media and media machine that as soon as this conflict started was ramping it up into an even bigger thing than it's become already. In my opinion.
that I agree with, but I mean just that specific point that he's making there, where proportionately it looks terrible, ethics wise, looks awful. There's a lot of people that, Grant, I understand what you're saying, that mixed with a ton of other opinions being amplified just adds to more and more people hating Israel. But I'm just saying that one point, it's a valid point, that there's going to be a lot of, especially anti-war people, that hear those numbers and look at that and have the exact same view that he has.
But I would say that the proportionality, here's the way I look at it. You know who Colion Noir is?
Oh yeah.
So Colion he was doing I think it was on Bill Maher, and he made an analogy that I use all the time now. That is, I want something to be as lopsided, as an engagement to be as lopsided as it possibly can. And we've backed away from that in warfare, because in some cases we've let the politicians, we saw it. that we let politicians start getting involved in military conflicts and military decision making, and it basically took us into a 20-year quagmire, right? Where you're
Why? I don't know. I don't know if the point Colion was making was if you punch me, I'm gonna cut your arm off, kind of thing. It's just more. If I'm in a defensive situation, I want to have the better equipment than you, so it's not a fair fight. I don't want a fair fight.
Right. I don't want a fair fight. And with the Israel situation, why one of the reasons that I have supported Israel, not in how they've handled the PR battle, because like we were talking about before, they've lost the PR battle, but they are literally surrounded by people who are infected with an ideology that seeks to wipe the place off the face of the earth. And that's what they've been dealing with ever since 48. It's been relentless.
Just to be fair, on the other side though, like there's also people who are going to agree with the concept of you punch me in the face and I'm going to cut your arm off, and I'm going to use that as a deterrent for you to not try to punch me in the face. So, you know what I mean? Like there's going to be a lot of people that agree with that too. Well, they attacked and unalived 1,200. This is disproportionate. They went and did 70,000 and destroyed 70 to 90% of the infrastructure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that should be a deterrent for later on to maybe don't do that again. Yeah. So there's going to be people that absolutely agree with that concept as well.
Yes.
So just to play devil's advocate there, Myron, sure. The point that he's making, there are going to be a lot of people that agree with it. And then on the opposite side, there's going to be a lot of people that agree or can at least understand why you would attack harder than you were attacked, or why you would respond harder than you were attacked.
Right.
To make a point, don't do that again.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess you could look at the global war on terror. We lose.
Yes.
Yeah, we lose thousands of people, and we went and we laid waste to, massive swaths of land all the way around the globe, and we did it for 20 years. Now, part of that,
I mean, there's
part of that was
that was more than part. But
part of that was
there's a lot of other stuff there.
There was money making. There was the military industrial complex. There were people who were getting rich. There was, I get totally get that. But
I mean, if we were just going off the concept of we're going to hit them way harder so they never do that again, like we definitely went way overboard.
Yeah. Well, and that's the other tough piece about it. Nick mentioned that there's always going to be more Islamic extremists. And as long as there's 100 million of them or whatever the number is, you're never going to get rid of all of them. Terrain denial is basically all you've got to work with. And that's kind of what they're doing, It's okay. Mama Owlbear, thank you for the super chat. I'm going to read a super chat here real quick. I haven't gotten to the comment section. You guys have been burning it up. Let's see. Let's pull this one up here. Okay, so it's because Hamas is doing this specifically to make Israel look bad. They knew they were going to lose militarily, but they would win in the propaganda war. Nick Freitas went over this very well. Yeah, Freitas has done so. Do you ever listen to Nick Freitas?
I mean, I might have, but the name's not ringing a bell.
He's a representative in what do they call them? Delegates in Virginia, and he's got a huge YouTube channel. Very good stuff. Very good stuff. You got to check him out. But yeah, no, this is.
Oh
true.
yeah, I haven't watched like full YouTube, but I've seen clips. Definitely seen clips of Nick Freitas.
Yeah. This is a great point, Mama Albert. They knew, yes, they're not going to beat them militarily. They're, they build up their weapons caches. They build up their stockpiles. They fire rockets. They harass. They harangue. They do all that. They launched that big attack on October 7th, and it met its intended purpose. It's turned the entire international community against Israel, which is an effective end state for them when it comes to how Netanyahu, or just not even Netanyahu, the country as a whole is viewed on the global stage. That's a win for them.
Mm-hmm. For sure. I think that plays into a serious problem that we have, is like a third grade understanding of just politics in general.
Yeah.
That there's good guys and there's bad guys. And that's just not how the world works. There's no nobody's innocent here. You know what I mean? Nobody's innocent. If you go back far enough in history, somebody has done something terrible to somebody else who you think might now be a good guy. And this is all played out. Like, if just look at Israel has been, the Jews have been dealing with issues since the beginning of time. Are they the good guys? Maybe sometimes. Are they the bad guys? Probably sometimes. But they're not just good guys, or they're not just the bad guys. So I don't know how we get out of this mentality in dealing with politics and geopolitics, but that needs to come to an end. Because you see it with libtards and this whole, like, America is the world's #1 terrorist. It's like, oh, here we go. Here we go. You live here. You live here and you take advantage of the spoils that we have in this country. How do you think we got those?
That's yeah. Well, it is a very effective way. By trying to make complicated issues black and white, it's easier to make an us versus them situation, whether it's left versus right, which kind of is us versus them, but when it's on the right, you pick an issue, you simplify it, then you make it a us versus them, and people who have TikTok brain, or people who are just scrolling and they're not going to sit down and listen to some long form discussion about something or try to understand the issues any deeper, they say, okay, I like what this guy said. I'm with this guy. Everybody else is bad. Everybody else is evil. And it's a very effective way, especially with social media, to split us up politically, socially, morally. I mean, you pick your poison. It's the way to divide us.
Yeah, that's a great point. And people don't want to be wrong. So they will, the Tucker Carlson thing, for instance, if you go, I'm just going back to the comments in that video. Like, it's for those people, it's not going to matter what Tucker says. He could say one thing one day and say the complete opposite thing the next day. They don't care. As long as he's talking about certain issues that they absolutely agree with, he's their guy. It's totally tribal. It's not going to make a difference to those people. To other people who would look at Tucker objectively on what he says, listen to some good points, and then listen to where he contradicts himself quite a bit, quite often, you can separate that. But people, the point that you were going on is they are incredibly tribal. That's their guy. And that's a problem we have in this country too, big time.
But at what point does, in your opinion, like, we'll go back to Tucker, because with Tucker, he's contradicted himself so much. At what point does somebody just completely lose credibility?
To who?
Well, should. Let me say instead of does. When should somebody lose credibility with perfectly reasonable person? When would you say, all right, at this point, you've lost credibility?
As soon as they're not being honest, when they're called out about something as simple as a statement that they made that completely contradicts. When you go, I didn't say that, or you said it in a way that you could later say you didn't say it. You could use it and see, nope, if you listen back, I didn't say that. If you're doing that intentionally, for me, you lose credibility. Done. If you're playing silly, shady games like that, I'm out. But if you're just changing your mind, or you're not like, you're keeping an open mind and you're not fully dug in on one set of principles or whatever the case may be, that's a little different. Like, I'm just looking at you as trying to be objective and honest, as honest as you can be with what you have, with the information that you have. However, people don't operate like that. Or not. I'm sure a lot do. I don't want to make a blanket statement, but there's a lot of people that don't operate like that at all. They have a worldview. They have an opinion. It's usually a very basic opinion. It's not very complex. There's not a lot of nuance. Is real bad, right? Mm-hmm. And as soon as they find the guy that is saying what they want to hear, they lock in, and they probably stay pretty loyal to that person regardless, and will just follow them off a cliff. That's a problem. And we've seen that with Trump. We see that on the left a lot. And now we're really starting to see that on the woke right, I guess.
Yeah,
That's a problem. Because that leads to extremism and radicalism and eventually violence.
That's very well put. Let Bronson cook. That was a good one. No, it's true. And people, we have a weird responsibility now as run of the mill citizens to not just pick a person and listen to a point of view. You know what I mean? Everything has to be checked. Like people that are in the chat listening to us, I implore people to go and hop on, get on ChatGPT, get on Google, get on whatever, and pull up things to fact check us. And if we're wrong, let us know we're wrong. I've changed my mind on a lot of things, and I've had to admit that I was wrong in a lot of instances. And the fear of, I said this on Gary's show once, that I have this deep, deep fear of misleading somebody. Like, it's a deep fear of misleading somebody, which is why I try to be very clear that how I process information is my opinion. And it's an opinion that's changed. I've changed on several things. So if you've locked yourself in on something, and as a casual viewer haven't gone back to try to really put the screws to your worldview, but B, your politics and your, how you view the culture, I just implore everybody to do that. Get outside the algorithm.
That's actually really noble. That's incredibly noble of you. Mine is a completely different. Mine's more ego based. I don't I'm already stupid, so I want to try really hard to not look stupid. So I just make sure that what I'm saying is as accurate as possible, so I don't look stupid. It has nothing to do with worried about misleading people or anything like that. So that's solid.
You do that though. That's the thing. You're trying to be in the process of being as accurate as you possibly can, to be as honest to people as you possibly can. You're flushing out your worldview, and you're not going to, obviously it'd never be intentional, but you're going to flush those things out. And so the information you deliver is accurate. I always say getting in front of a camera is a wonderful way to, there's people, let me rephrase this. There are people who get in front of a camera and they are purely performative. And when they become performative, they are playing to the audience. This is what is kind of, guess you could say Tucker's doing, but it's audience capture. They are just saying what hypes up the audience, what gets them the views, what gets them the clicks. They aren't actually talking through anything. They're just repeating, regurgitating, and they're more like an actor than they are a commentator. Those people most of them, I don't even know if I could say most of them, a lot of them, they're not concerned about truth or fact. They're just watching subscriber count. They're watching like count. They're watching view hours and impressions, and it's what gets me more of that. That's not a great way for you. Candace Owens does that, I'm sure. Baron Coleman does that, and Ian Carroll does that. It's like, let's just sit here and repeat the same thing. It'd have to be boring as hell to run their podcasts, to do that show where you just talk about it's the same stuff that is false. Like what that does to your soul, I can't imagine, but how horrible that must be to get in front of a camera, and unless they just totally believe it. Maybe I'm completely off and they actually believe it, but
I think it just depends. I think it depends on what they're talking about, whether or not they totally believe it or not.
Yeah.
I do like that Tucker had Alex on though, because that is, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Granted, it felt like, I don't know if you watched the whole thing yet or not, but it felt like it was two people who have opposing opinions on quite a few things, and they were both trying to play it incredibly safe.
Yes. Oh, I was going to pull it back up. I thought I had it still up here. If you've got the time, I might play a little more of it. By the way, I want to thank Jujubee.
All the time.
Jujubee just became a member. Welcome aboard. Gritsnitch became a member too. Hey, here we go. Oh, gift membership.
Hey, I know that guy.
Thank you.
Or girl. I wish they would.
I know
these names sometimes I can't tell.
It's hard. It's so hard to figure out who's to figure out male or female. Oh yeah, it's tough on here. Let's see. Okay, where was I? Oh yeah, the Tucker one. Let me see if I can pull that back up, because I feel like we should listen to some more of it. He kind of called out Tucker a bit.
He does. He pushes back a little bit, but he's real political about it, real politician like about it. And same with Tucker. But I do appreciate that Tucker had somebody on that just wasn't a Candace Owens or somebody they're just gonna, you know what I mean, circle jerk each other for 2 hours.
Right.
And I'm hoping Tucker does more of that. Like I'm hoping we're getting closer to midterms. They're seeing what's happening over on the left, and that they at least come to a realization that, okay, well, I might not like the policies or the direction of the Republican Party, but I really can't allow what's happening on the left to gain more traction and gain more power. So I'm hoping they sort of pendulum swing back a little bit and just, I covered it a little bit with Alex. Alex is starting to kind of say some positive things about Trump and JD Vance, right? Even Rubio, they don't like Rubio, or Tucker doesn't at all. And he gets into that, but I don't care. You know what I mean? The people are going to decide on who the Republican nominee is going to be for president in 2028, period. It's not going to be a podcaster. It's going to be people. But as long as we can stop the bleed here a little bit with these people going crazy and thinking that there's no difference between the left and the right and that it's all the same thing, like, I'm all for that. So please, Tucker, have more dissenting opinions on your podcast, for the love of God.
Yes, absolutely.
These echo chambers are not good.
No. I'm going to play some more of this.
Interesting. It makes you, I'm not actually surprised because, again, they're offering no alternative to the MOU.
Right.
So if there was like some way for the United States to get more, I could see the criticism as being valid. So I'm not surprised by that number, but it does make you think maybe there are other issues where our view of it is totally distorted because our view comes from social media.
Definitely. And a lot of the press rooms, they get their stories from social media. They get the producers, they get what topics they're going to discuss in their shows from social media.
Oh, for sure.
Because they think that is what people are talking about. And some people are talking about it, but in the grand scheme of things, a very small percentage of people are actually talking or caring about these issues. And so I think it's very healthy and important for Americans in our country to start pulling back from believing everything that they read on social media and start questioning a lot of the people that they're getting the information from. And on all sides of issues, there's a lot of influence and a lot of money from special interest groups from foreign countries that have poured into internet ecosystem. I don't think it's been healthy for our democracy, for our country. And so, I've been working actually with Congresswoman Ana Paulina Luna and some other friends in government to maybe strengthen some disclosure laws. But there's a lot of influence ops that happen on social media. And, I think if we just continue talking about the war in the Middle East, for example, there's an information op on the pro-Israel side, and there's an information op on the anti-Israel side.
Who's getting paid to be anti-Israel? I've been very critical of Israel. I've never taken a dollar from anybody. We have no investors and no debt. So I know for myself, I've never, and I would.
That's not accurate, by the way.
Break it down for us.
15 million from Omid. Why do I keep blanking on this? I'm not the brightest bulb on the Christmas tree. Hang on, I'm gonna have to look it up. Tucker's 15 million investment.
While you're doing that, Mama Albert, I think, had a question in the chat. Who is this Alex guy? And I might get this somewhat wrong, but I believe he's he's the advisor for Donald Trump's social media, right? Like that's his thing. He's sort of a social media pro, I guess.
Yeah. He's actually the one who got Marjorie Taylor Greene. He talked about it in here, from 20,000 to 800,000 subscribers on, I think, Instagram, or followers on Instagram.
I must have missed that. I was scrolling X while I was listening to it. I must have just. So he's the reason we have MTG.
Yep.
Oh, F this guy.
Get lost, dude. Oh, Omid Malik, by the way, was 15 million in. So it was Tucker and his business partner Neil Patel raised 15 million seed round for their media startup. There you go.
Patel? Where's Neil Patel from?
I actually don't know Neil Patel. I haven't looked at that.
And what was the other name that you said?
It was Omid Malik.
Where's he from? What's his background? What are his connections?
You would. He is American, but I think he's okay. I've done a show on this one. Why is my recall so bad? Omid Malik is American banker and business executive. He's the founder and CEO of the merchant bank Farver Partners. So he's a venture capitalist guy.
Venture capitalist? What's his what religion is he? Do we know?
It doesn't say, but we can assume where he hails from based on the name. As an assumption to stereotype and be very surface level, we will say we can kind of assume what his upbringing is. Not everybody is that way. He's Pakistani. So it's the son of an Iranian mother and a Pakistani father. Omid Malik was born in New Jersey. He's my age. And he's got 15 million to throw around. What have I done with my life?
No kidding, right?
2 years older than I am. Yeah. So yeah, he's a venture capital guy.
But he just likes Tucker and wanted to invest in TCN?
TCN, that's it. And I guess it takes 15 million to start a YouTube channel. I don't know how that works. This guy's making money. He's still getting his Fox payout. I don't know when that finally completes. But when they fired him, he got his full,
they had to pay out the rest of his contract.
Oh yeah. Tens of millions of dollars. It was something to the tune of 40 million that he's still getting, and yet he needs 15 million to start a YouTube channel. I don't know about you.
I would be curious what the contract is on that, or what the clause is on that, because my guess is they would want to pay that out over the longest period of time as possible, so it's not one big chunk, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he's getting paid for a while, a pretty decent amount of money.
Well, he was independently wealthy to begin with.
Right.
Wasn't it his wife's money that weren't it the Swansons in that? Was that Tucker?
Yeah, that sounds right. You should maybe fact check that.
I should. Don't take me at my word on that one. Tucker Carlson. I'm going to look at what is this? Carlson. I guess I can't talk and type this in. Contract payout. Let's see. Initially entered into payout Tucker Carlson's contract, which was worth approximately 20 million to 25 million per year, and ran until January 2025 to keep him sidelined from rival networks. However, the agreement became the subject of a bitter blah blah blah. It's tens of millions. I don't know.
I guess it doesn't really matter. Tucker's doing just fine. He didn't need a $15 million investment.
No.
So there's a reason that he took it.
Yeah.
Are they just friends? Is it somebody that he's known for a long time? But still, like, why would you? What percentage did he get of TCN? Why would you give up any percentage if you don't need the capital? It's weird.
That is very weird because it's not just monetized. He does all his own internal ad reads. I'm sure the channel, or I think the channel is monetized too. I've been paying for YouTube Premium, so I'm not seeing ads, but he's getting ads from that. He's getting his own internal ad reads. He's making bank. He's got the money to take these trips to travel around to interview people, which he does for. Like, what's the 15 million for? That doesn't. Right. It's YouTube. It's YouTube.
But that's
cameras.
That also makes me question that there's no way, like, $15 million for a Tucker Carlson. That doesn't sound like that's going to be enough money to buy an opinion.
No, but this is when he first started. So this was initial seed money before he launched TCN. So unless he I don't see how Tucker Carlson needed $15 million from anybody to launch TCN when he's independent. He's been doing media for how many years, making millions and millions of dollars a year. Right.
His wife was independently wealthy. His dad was wealthy. Like, Tucker grew up wealthy. He's just been wealthy.
Yeah, he went to
So
St.
I don't know that.
He went to
But
St.
that's what I'm
George's,
saying.
which is like a $40,000 a
What's
year
the
private
15
school.
million for?
Yeah, that I don't know.
I just don't. It's hard for me to believe that unless money is just money and more money, sure, I'll say whatever you want me to say, pay me, unless he's just that kind of person. But I just don't see how, like, if you care about honesty and integrity and this is your own thing, like, why if you're already very rich, what is $15 million going to do to say an opinion that you don't agree with? Unless he agrees completely with the opinion already. And then it was just like, yeah, sure, you want to give me 15 million to say what I was going to say anyway, let's do it.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
It doesn't make sense to me. You are correct. He was getting tens of millions of dollars from Fox. He was independently wealthy. His family's wealthy. He's what's 15 million? Then this is something that my brain doesn't compute, because I deal in I'm an individual solopreneur. I've got my little, I do my little business and I do just fine. And when you start talking these millions and tens of millions and to a billionaire, if you think about it, it's like $1 million. Yeah, sure, I could throw a milli at it. 15 million. I've got 15 million sitting around. It's burning a hole in my pocket. Yeah, check it over here to TCN. I'll get a few points on the back end from Tucker Carlson's network, whatever it is. But why would you do that? I just don't get it. I don't get it.
I don't know. So it's hard for me it really is. It's difficult for me to assume that Tucker Carlson took a $15 million payday to change his worldview and to spread propaganda when he's already wealthy.
Yeah. I don't think that he's, well, let me say I don't think. I'm leaning more towards.
Because it was gradual. Like his shift in what he's been talking about, it was gradual. He just didn't come out the gate firing on all cylinders talking about Israel bad. Like it's been a gradual process for him. I think there's more audience capture than there is a $15 million investment from a hooded person. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Well, and it's not just being anti. Like you can change your opinion on Israel. Given new information, you start drawing new conclusions. The internet can shift your mind. Audience capture can shift your mind. But to simultaneously go pro something that is antithetical to what you purport to be, which is a devout Christian, and to say that I'm going to go towards something that is antithetical to your Christian worldview, which is Sharia law and feudalism and all these other things, that's another significant shift. So it's not just the anti, it's the pro.
That's fair. That's fair. Has he had on any people of the Muslim faith to talk about the Muslim faith at all? Because he's had quite a few Christians on talking about Christianity and theology.
I don't recall. Believe it or not, I mostly watch. I don't watch a ton of his content anymore. It's gotten fairly repetitive. You kind of know where it's going to go. It's somebody who is saying that Zionism is anathema, saying that, that Qatar is good, that Sharia law is not that bad, that, Israel sucks and Israel sucks and Israel sucks. This is the bulk of his content. So you kind of know, and you see it on X and you're like, oh, another one. And you think, do I want to sit down and listen to this knucklehead cackle like a hyena while he talks about how much he doesn't like Israel? Like, I can only take so much of it. So, I don't.
But I feel like these people are pretty consistent. In about 6 months to a year and a half, the opinions that they had those prior 6 months are gone and they're on to something new.
Okay.
Does that seem accurate? I feel like that's been a pretty consistent theme with a lot of these podcasters.
You mean they go from the anti-Israel or the pro-Israel to anti-Israel? Is that what you're saying? And it just takes a very short period of time for them to make that arc?
They just seem to all of a sudden, whatever appears to be popular, they all of a sudden have a very favorable opinion towards what's ever popular.
Yeah. That's a fair point. That's a fair point. I would love for there to be a purge of the bots, and for there to be a purge of the algorithm influencing. And when that
That's
happens,
never gonna happen.
No, but how great would that be if rebooting a computer? It's like everything's glitchy and you never really know, like an old computer, and you say, I'm hard restarting this thing. I'm doing a factory reset. I wish somebody in Google and in these other social media platforms would sneak into the back room and do a hard reset on all this crap and just see what rises to the top. See what people actually want to listen to, because we're not getting fed the right stuff. This is being so manipulated.
Sure, but they don't care. They don't give a crap if everything's being botted and all these views are botted because they can charge advertisers more money based on viewership. They don't give a crap. There's so much money in dead internet theory. That's never going to change.
Dead internet theory?
Yeah, dead internet theory is basically, I'll try to put it in a nutshell, is that there's not a whole lot of real people on the internet anymore. It's mostly bots and AI.
Okay. Yeah, that I have heard of. I've heard a couple people talk about that. That some people said that X was like 80% bots, something crazy like that.
I think at one point it was pretty bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Elon says that they've eliminated a good chunk, but I mean, anybody who's on X right now, I think, would disagree with that.
Yeah.
Seems to be a lot of body looking accounts on X.
A lot of faceless avatars and all that stuff. I wanted to get to the point where this guy was calling out Tucker, but I don't remember where it was. And we've already come up on 2 hours. I mean, I guess I could keep going with it. I get on here. I'm enjoying this conversation.
Here as long as you want.
I know. Here, let me play this one. Let me see if we get to the point where he softly calls out Tucker.
Money to give
Oh, here we go.
That is what people are talking about. And some people are talking about it, but in the grand scheme of things, a very small percentage of people are actually talking or caring about these issues. And so I think it's very healthy and important for Americans in our country to start pulling back from believing everything that they read on social media and start questioning a lot of the people that they're getting the information from. And on all sides of issues, there's a lot of influence and a lot of money from special interest groups from foreign countries that have poured into internet ecosystem. And you know, I don't think it's been healthy for our democracy, for our country. And so, you know, I've been working actually with Congresswoman Ana Paulina Luna and some other friends in government to maybe strengthen some disclosure laws. But there's a lot of influence ops that happen on social media. And, you know, I think if we just continue talking about the war in the Middle East, for example, there's an information op on the pro-Israel side, and there's an information op on the anti-Israel side.
Who's getting paid to be anti-Israel? I've been very critical of Israel. I've never taken a dollar from anybody. We have no investors and no debt. So I know for myself, I've never, and I would never take money to give an opinion.
So you're not Tucker Carlson.
I actually really like Qatar a lot, and I think the people who run it are amazing. But I've never taken any money from Qatar, and I never would. I think it's interesting to hear you say that there is anti-Israel commentary that's being funded by foreign countries. I've never heard that before.
And it also might be funded domestically. And maybe what I'm not going to accuse anybody of taking money. That's not my position, right? But
I'd like to.
I'm an expert on social media.
Yes.
Early on in my career, I started my company to help conservatives communicate better on social media.
Yep.
And so I would identify conservatives that I wanted to work with, and I would help them grow their social media presence, oftentimes using some other people's platforms, you know, amplification or whatever. Some of those members of Congress that I've worked with in the past, Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Yep.
I started working with Marjorie Taylor Greene. She had 2,000 Twitter followers. By the time she won her election and entered Congress that January of 2021, she had over 800,000 Twitter followers. So in probably a 9-month period, we took her from a no-name congresswoman or a no-name candidate to one of the most followed Republican congresswomen in America. And
how do you do that?
I must admit, I'm slightly disappointed with Marjorie's recent pivot. You know, I think that she felt slightly burned that people didn't support her ambitions for higher office. She says that's not the case. But she went from being the president's #1 defender for 6 years, for as long as I've known her. She only wanted to run for Congress to get Trump's endorsement, to be Trump's #1 fan, #1 cheerleader.
She loved Trump.
She loved Trump. And so I think that she was a little bit slighted by the president and the team not supporting her for either governor or senator or vice president or some other ambitions that she had. And I personally also think she got bored of Congress. I think she went in with tremendous excitement. She wanted to go there and make a difference. She wanted to go there and help President Trump, build the wall and deport illegal aliens and, end foreign aid and do all these things. And I think she got to Washington. She realized a lot of those things are, the president built the wall and he stopped illegal alien invasion in our country almost 100% since he's been in office. But a lot of other things that she wanted to do, when you get to Congress, you realize it's almost impossible. And you realize that you're one of 435 people. And you see people on Fox News, a congressman on Fox News, they talk a tough game. Oh, I can write this letter, I can do this, I can hold this person accountable. But you realize the congressman doesn't actually have any authority. So I think she went there having a different understanding of how much power she could actually have and how much change she could actually make. Realized it was a system that was very difficult to change, got burned out, and is now back to being a commentator.
Well, there's never been a better time to sign up for Dutch Pet. That's because we...
I have to show something while this ad is playing real quick, and I'll fast forward through it. Look at this person's username. It was
Real George Farmer.
he was in my chat before, and I can't tell if I can only assume it's a troll. And I was saying something, and he said, "I know my family and I have had a really hard time with this." It was talking about commentary from or bots, and I forget what it was. And so I'm like, man, I hope this is a troll account. I don't know how somebody nailed that username, but that's a funny one. Let's fast forward.
I think he was probably pretty spot on about MTG and why she dipped out of politics. I think she saw that it was a dead end for her, and that she probably had aspirations of going up the ladder and gaining more and more influence and power. And I think she realized that it's probably more power and influence in being a talking head on social media than there is in being just a random obscure member of Congress.
Yeah, and I think that'll be the play. You play to the people who are, the same ones we've been kind of criticizing for the whole show. You play to them, you build a big audience, then you get enough notoriety and exposure to run for office again. I mean, it's the only reason that Ted Cruz still does a podcast, is to maintain some sort of visibility where everybody and their brother's got a podcast, or they get a talking head show on a major news network. If
Ted Cruz has a podcast or just goes on pod. He has a podcast.
Yeah, Verdict. The Verdict with Ted Cruz.
Oh,
yeah.
I don't.
So a buddy of mine loves it, and I listen to it, and I think I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm just not and I'm a guy who was a Ted Cruz supporter back in the day, and now I can't listen to political speak. I can't do it.
I don't really like very many politicians anyway, regardless of what political party they're with.
Yeah, I try to
but
I've done the whole, I really like this person. Oh, I really like that person. I have become a bit jaded with all of them. And I think that's a safe place to be and I don't want to say jaded. I have become very suspicious of every single one of them. I don't care who it is, how much of the good stuff they say. The safest place to be is just like we're supposed to be of the government, skeptical of everything, question, but at the end of the day, you got to have a little faith in the system. You got to have faith in the Constitution. So it's a fine line.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, real low expectations here. Like, people really need to bring these expectations down. I think that would solve a lot of the radical problems we have too.
Oh yeah. We got another super chat here. MTG wanted to be Anna Paulina. This is an interesting thought. Thank you for the super chat. Job for 9. MTG wanted to be Anna Paulina, who is the one climbing the ladder now. I feel like Anna Paulina Luna has... I might be making this off of my poor memory, which has been failing me recently. I don't know, but might be hitting early Alzheimer's or something. But I feel like wasn't she playing a bit of the identity politics stuff?
I feel like you have to.
Well,
it's at where we are in society. I feel like you have to. I mean, that sucks.
It does.
but
It does. Well, you know, we did it. This how honestly, when we get so identitarian, or let me put it this way: it's the shiny object. It's jingling the keys. That's kind of what got us Candace Owens. That's what grew Candace Owens. She was a shiny
that's
object.
what got us Donald Trump, though, too.
Correct. It's so I guess you never exactly know how it's going to go, whether it's going to work in our favor or against us. But Candace Owens, she was very convincing because she was a fast talking, you know, black woman who was conservative, staunchly conservative, former Democrat. So she did the whole walkout, you know, the Blexit thing, and she checked all those.
She had a pretty face.
Yep, she had a pretty face. She checked a lot of boxes, and now she's a raving lunatic who's trying to absolutely destroy the party. You know,
I think she's always been a raving lunatic. There were just people that were keeping her in check.
Right. I think she's a sociopath is what I really think. I think she's clinical.
Yeah, she's probably.
Yeah.
If not many other things on top of that.
Yeah. Demon possessed, possibly. Did I say that? Did I say that out loud? Are we live still? I don't know. Let's keep
Now,
going.
Candace, I believe, would take a $15 million deposit to have an opinion.
Oh, yeah. Yep, she would. Oopsie.
To speak for her, I think it's obviously true that she was frustrated as hell by Congress because it's frustrating as hell. I don't think she liked the leadership at all. She said that while she was there. She loved Trump. There's no doubt about that. They also had substantive, not fake, but substantive policy disagreements that are just real. There's no way around that. On the war, on Epstein, those are real things. And I think you can make a case for, you know, everyone's individual perspective, but I also think it's fair to say we just disagree. Yeah. And they do disagree.
Well, I think, so you asked me how we took Marjorie from 2,000 to 800,000.
Well, how does the process work? Not just Marjorie, but like, how does the process work? So,
well, I wanted to explain that to you. Yeah. So with Marjorie, for example, she pushed the limits. You know, the most viral ad that we did for her, that campaign cycle, she was standing on her front porch in Georgia right after the Antifa riots broke out in the summer of 2020. And Marjorie, you know, she was early 40s, you know, little blonde girl standing on her porch with a gun. And she says, my message to Antifa terrorists, stay the hell out of Northwest Georgia. And she loads a gun. That was filmed on a cell phone. Might have spent 10 minutes producing the whole thing. That video went bonkers. Tens of millions of views. And then this was in the pre-Elon era of Twitter. And Twitter banned the video for promoting violence. Facebook banned it. But then Fox, actually, to their credit, they showed the censorship of that was happening to Marjorie on the social media platform. So she was on Fox and Friends that next morning. She was on late night. She was primetime Fox later that day. She got her accounts back, and she gained like 300,000 followers off of one moment.
Yeah, I was involved. I remember.
And so she was.
So we can also blame Tucker since he was involved.
And a lot of right-wing accounts started defending her. This is terrible. Go follow Marjorie Taylor Greene. Go support Marjorie Taylor Greene. And these are all MAGA people. These are all President Trump supporters. These are all MAGA people. And I think that's why so many people are frustrated by her pivot. And yes, you can have policy disagreements, but I think there's a difference between having policy disagreements and making accusations. And she's not the only one. These people accusing the president.
Well, I mean, hold on. I mean, I love Marjorie. So, I mean, and that's well known. I love Marjorie Taylor Greene, and I think she's a sincere person. I don't understand every nuance, but I do think we don't have to like come up with, we can like understand people's motives as they explain them. And she's like, I think you should be doing this, and the administration thinks they should be doing that. And like, that's fair. No?
Sure. I definitely agree. I definitely agree that that's fair. But then there's the extra. There's the extracurriculars. And it's not Marjorie. I don't actually speak on Marjorie for this, but there's a lot of these people who used to be Trump fans. And they're Trump fans up until 9 months ago, 10 months ago. And they use the Epstein thing as the pretext of why they're no longer Trump fans. And I think that's incredibly unfair. I think the president is the only reason we have Epstein files. Trump's administration in the first term arrested Jeffrey Epstein. You know, he put him in bars, behind bars. He put him in jail. And yes, he died in jail. Do I think it was a suicide? You know, I'm probably with the internet on this one, but
definitely not.
But the president arrested him. He took him off the streets so he couldn't hurt any more people. And then he campaigned in 2024, and people said, "Oh, well, Trump campaigned on the Epstein files." No, actually, he didn't campaign on that. He was asked by Lex Friedman, interesting character. He said, "Will you release the Epstein files?" Trump said, "Yeah, I'd be inclined to do so." And then he did it. And guys like Thomas Massey like to take the credit for the release of the Epstein files, but during
Trump may not have, but the people that Trump put in positions definitely were campaigning on releasing the Epstein files and being transparent about it. I don't, this part of the politic game, I hate. I can't stand it. I don't care who's doing it. I think it sucks. I think it's completely disingenuous, and I wish they would stop doing this, because that was one of Kash Patel's biggest things. He went on numerous podcasts talking about it. Bongino did the same thing. Don't let go of this Epstein thing. Keep this going. We need to find out. We need to know. I don't like that.
Yeah. Well, it certainly garnered them a lot of favor with the MAGA base when they were, I guess you could call it a version of audience capture. They said it. It went viral. We're going to get the answers, all this, even though Trump mentioned it in passing. But it gets hung around. That's the millstone that got hung around Trump's neck and is sinking the guy. With these people, anyway. Well, it's at least what they're using. I don't know that he ever fully had them. Like, I don't know if he fully had MTG or, any of these other people that Tucker hated him, liked him during the election and when he was launching a network, and then hated him again. So,
well, Trump's ideas had them for sure. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? They were for sure on board with most of his campaign, the campaign promises.
Yeah.
There's you know what I mean?
Yeah. I know what you mean.
I just don't know which one. Were there two of them? Were they all of his campaign promises? You know what I mean? Like, did you really vote for somebody expecting that they were going to be able to accomplish everything that they said that they wanted to accomplish? Because I think if people went in with that expectation, like, is this your first time voting? Have you not been ever paying attention to politics before? You know what I mean?
Yes.
So were they voting for Trump just based on was that it? You were voting for Trump just based on Epstein? That was it? That was the only thing. All the problems we have, and your only concern was, we need to know. I mean, I agree. I would like all of those people to be in jail or worse as well. But that couldn't have been the only reason that you voted for Trump. Is there something else that you voted for him for that he's done that you're like, yeah, no, this is good?
Yeah.
Can we talk about that a little bit too?
Net zero immigration. People say those people, hey, he didn't build the wall. He hadn't built all the wall. And it's been, what are we at now? A year and 6 months, year and however many months, it's a year and 5 months, 6 months, 6 months. He hadn't built all the wall. Yeah, but we're at net zero immigration. We're at net zero for the first time in like 50, 60 years. It's a proof of concept that the wall, yes, should we build a wall? That would be really nice if we built a wall. But with the current infrastructure, like border defenses that we have, with the border forces that we have and the resources, we can get to net zero with proper enforcement. Net zero without
and
building
we're doing
a wall.
Deportations.
Correct. And we're doing,
granted, there's a lot of people that would be unhappy because we're not doing enough, but look at the roadblocks that this administration has ran into trying to do mass deportations. Look at the ICE protests. Look at what happened in Minneapolis, St. Paul area. Like, do you think the left was just going to allow this to happen? It's so stupid. Like, he's not deporting enough. He's kind of running into some problems. I'm not sure if you guys have seen that. Should we just, you know what I mean? Is Trump supposed to just say, screw it, too bad, increase ICE, put more out on the streets, and we just have chaos and violence run amok over it? Because it looks like that's what the left was willing to do. Trump has to play that safe, both politically and for the good of the country. So it's such a stupid argument to say that he's not doing enough. Like, he can only do so much. He has resistance on almost every, look at the SAVE Act. You can't even get the SAVE Act passed. Yeah. Like, come on, guys.
And that's 80% favorability across the U.S., across everybody.
Yeah,
like 80%, you can't get it through. It's because it's easy to go, look, the president can do a lot. Donald Trump does a lot. He has a lot of power and authority. Congress still has responsibilities. How about we keep the pressure amped up on them as well? That's the whole walk and chew gum at the same time. The SAVE Act was there. Voter ID. Donald Trump wants voter ID. We want voter ID. The 80% of the American people want freaking voter ID. And they won't even get him to vote on it. To have on record.
This is how the power structure works.
Yeah.
This is how you win elections. The only way the left can win is to try to make the right look as bad as possible. And how do they do that? By trying to stop things that they want to get passed that would be good for the country. And kind of vice versa. It works both ways. So it's in the Democrats' best interest to try to not let Donald Trump pass bills that actually benefit people in the country. Then when Dems have power, it's kind of in the best interest of the Republicans to stop. It's not a very good system. I will admit that, but it's the best one we got and the best one that I know of on the planet. So here we are.
The best one ever to exist, even though it's messy and it's slow. And this is the other piece of it. When it came to Trump was the timing. What's that?
Just the fact that it's slow isn't a bad thing.
Right.
Like there's a lot of reasons that I can think of that I appreciate the government works at a very slow pace. And that's regulations. Like I'm really glad that the government is not quick. And the founding fathers had that. Like they knew when they set it up that that's the reason that they set it up for, was to make sure that there were all of these checks and balances and that something can't just be swiftly done. Like it's going to take time and a lot of discussion and a lot of debate. So that's a good thing. I know people want instant gratification and they want what they want when they want it, but they don't take into consideration the things that they don't want. Like, oh, cool. So you agreed with this policy and we're able to get that pushed through really quick because this is your idea of how it should work. Now, what happens when it's policies you disagree with? Well, now you want it to be slow. Now you don't want it to be a quick system. So you know what I mean? You kind of have to deal with it. It's a good thing that government is generally pretty slow at doing stuff.
Yeah. And kind of at the top of the show, you mentioned the splits that are going on between the left and the right on our respective sides. On the right, we've got a rift. On the left, there seems to be a rift, that's forming between the well, I don't know if they're blue dog Democrats, but your run-of-the-mill Democrat and the socialists, and then we've got the far right and the conservatives, Republicans, all that stuff. But when it comes down to voting, this is what has shifted our country to the left, is that the left does go lockstep most of the time. There's a few people that step outside the lines, but by and large, if it's legislation and it's spending money and it gets us closer to socialism, communism, whatever, they're going to vote for it. They're going to go with it. For us, we get somebody like we talked about this once before with Thomas Massie. Thomas Massie is a budget hawk. Rand Paul in the Senate is a budget hawk. Cool. Like I'm good with being a budget hawk. We need to figure this out. We've got to get more than just Thomas Massie, because when Thomas Massie says, nope, I know we've got this, granted, you were right that he's not really voting to stop anything, but we need more budget hawks. Let me put it this way. Yeah, that's a bad example. I'm not going to go down that road. We get people that vote in opposition to what 80% of the American people want. And that is, that's getting hung. Somebody mentioned it down here in the comments. That's getting hung around Trump's neck as if he also controls the House and the Senate. It's two separate things. The MAGA movement and, the conservatives and, this tent that he created, that's one thing. But there's still remnants of the old school politics in Congress that have to be changed out. And that's the biggest stumbling block for the Republican Party. I'm of the Charlie Kirk mindset that's what has to be changed from the inside out. It's done through primaries. And so when we see, whether it's the House
and time,
right,
and culture,
yep.
Like this is a very long game. This is not an overnight ordeal at all. Look how quick culture changes. Mm-hmm. Like it's going to take time.
Well, and when Thune comes
people
out,
they don't want to wait.
Yeah. And when Thune comes out and says, well, we're it's not going to go through, so we're just not going to vote on it. No. For us, the voters, we deserve to see who's going to vote in the negative for a piece of legislation that 80% of the American people want. Everybody, Democrats, Republicans, everybody needs to have their name on their little voting sheet or whatever. When it ticks up across the screen, I want to see who does, because those are the people that need to be primaried. They're the people that need to be removed, and the American people deserve to know that. But when it comes to Trump, I'm going to go back to my point. It was a long ramble. I kind of did a Trump weave here. I got outside the bounds. Now I'm coming back to it. The expectation for Trump to get things done was so stinking fast that 3 months after he became president, when not enough results were being seen, they were basically hanging the guy, figuratively hanging him in the public square, in the court of public opinion. Because they don't understand, like you said. Do you understand how this works? Like, is this your first time voting? First time in politics? And I approached it with, he's doing some good stuff, but there's still more that needs to be done. Be patient. Be patient. I kept trying to say, be patient. Be patient. And we just don't have, I guess on our side, we're all out of patience because we've also got the Tucker Carlsons and the Nick Fuenteses and the Candace Owenses and the other people that are pushing against it. They're the ones that are spreading the, hate Trump, split the party, vote Democrat, all that nonsense. And it started so fast that, it's the algorithm.
Not to mention, they forget that it's a constant political game being played. It's not just one party represents a set of ideals and another party and they just bet. Trump has opposition within his own party. There are people within his own party that are lobbying for the next step up the line or whatever that looks like. So they're playing a political game inside with negotiations and backdoor deals. Like, it's just how the system works. And we can't do anything about it because it's in the Constitution.
Yeah.
And that you're not going to, you know what I mean? Like, to get a constitutional amendment, when's the last time a constitutional amendment was made?
Oh, when was the last constitutional amendment? That's a good question.
Yeah, you can't get, you know what I mean? You can't get half the country to agree on one specific topic. You're not going to get what the percentage of however many states it is to agree to make it. Like, that's just not going to happen.
May 7th, 1992, it prevents any law varying the compensation for the services of senators and representatives from taking effect until an election of representatives has intervened. That was the 27th Amendment.
And I would say we were a far less divided country back in 1992 than we are today.
Whew, preach it, buddy. Preach it. My goodness. All right, I'm going to play a little bit more, and then I'm probably going to call it at 2.5 hours. This is a long stream, man. I'm enjoying this. This. I keep saying I'm going to cut it off, but then I keep going because I'm just having fun. I should train to go for we train to standard, not to time.
Yep.
Yeah, that's it.
4 years of Joe Biden, the Biden Department of Justice was sitting on these files. How many times did Massey tweet about Epstein? 0. Not a single time for 4 years of Biden. And so a lot of people see, some of these guys now, and Massey's never liked the president. Like, Trump endorsing against Massey in this election isn't the response to him being critical of Epstein. Trump endorsed against Massey in 2020. Trump's never liked Massey. And, he's an acquired taste. Not everybody likes Thomas Massey.
Right.
But it wasn't a response. He didn't lash out at Massey and endorse this guy against him because of the Epstein files. He's never liked Massey. Massey's always been a thorn in some capacity. And so there was no cover-up. And I think people who suggest that there was a cover-up are not being honest. Could you disagree with the messaging rollout, the media rollout, the former attorney general strategy around it? Absolutely. I wasn't particularly thrilled about the binders. Nobody knew what the hell the binders came from, all right? But the president did not participate in any cover-up. In fact, he's the only reason that these documents are out. And he's also exonerated by it. There's 3 million documents that have been released. Not a single person can point to, Donald Trump did something wrong. The people who did do something wrong or appear to have done something wrong are guys like Reid Hoffman. Would I like the Department of Justice to go after Reid Hoffman? Yeah, I probably would. How
about just call him in for questioning?
I would support that, absolutely.
I wonder why that hasn't happened.
Well, maybe it will. But I think giving control of the government process to a handful of hysterics on social media is bad. I think it was bad for Epstein, with the Epstein files. I think it's bad right now for all of the hawks who are continuing to press the administration to continue the war.
I agree with that. I would also say, though, that the Attorney General at the time, Pam Bondi, gave an interview on Fox in which she said, I have thousands of files on my desk that show sexual abuse of kids. Mm-hmm. She said that. That's the Attorney General of the United States. And I've always liked Pam Bondi. It's not personal, but the Attorney General says that and then no one gets indicted for it. You're like, you're the Attorney General. You're the chief law enforcement officer of the nation. Well, what the hell are you talking about?
I didn't hear the sexual abuse of kids part, but I did hear her say that I have these documents on my desk. Should she have said
thousands?
Should she have said that? Probably not.
Or maybe she should say it. By the way, I was glad that she said it. It wasn't that she said it. I want more disclosure. I want to know what the government
I'm not
is
sure
doing.
what point he was trying to make right there, where he's like, maybe she shouldn't have said that. What do you mean? Maybe she shouldn't have said that.
I missed that part because I looked down at the live stream while he was talking.
Well, he's saying that Tucker was bringing up the issue of Pam Bondi saying that there was child essay material, like thousands of this child essay material, and his response back to that was, well, maybe she shouldn't have said that. Like, but is it true? Like, didn't she end up saying that it was CP and it wasn't like actually Epstein or anybody in the Epstein thing that was doing the thing? It was just CP, like a bunch of CP.
Yeah.
But when he says she shouldn't have said that, why should she not have said that?
Well, because people said, where is it? And that's the weird part is I've got all this stuff. I've seen disgusting things. That implies that there is that it exists, that it should be investigated, that if there is incriminating information in that CP, then there should be investigations that lead to prosecutions. So you're right. If she said it, it was either a lie or it's true and they're just not prosecuting it. So if she doesn't say it, then there's no pushback, but that shows that's a lie. Basically, that's her lying.
But either way, that's a problem.
Correct.
Like that's a legitimate gripe, and you know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's an issue.
That's a big issue. Well, he mentioned the binders too. That was an absolute debacle.
That was stupid.
It showed how stupid they thought how stupid Pam Bondi thought we are as voters, as Republicans, as whatever. Supporters of the president. We are so stupid that we're going to watch. Is it
possible that Pam Bondi wasn't even aware that, like, she's just that ignorant with the Epstein thing? Like, she just wasn't even aware that stuff had already been out? It could be that she's just that dumb. She seemed pretty dumb.
Yeah, that's a good question. I
feel like that's me trying to defend Pam Bondi. That is not what I'm trying to do with that.
Kind of sounds like it there, Rage.
She sucked. She was just bad all around.
Yeah, she was.
Trump. I've heard this point made before from other people. I can't recall who off the top of my head, but Trump has an issue with like putting women into positions of authority that probably shouldn't be there. And I'm assuming it's mostly just because they're women.
You think?
And it's biting him in the butt more often than it is not.
Pam Bondi and Kristi Noem have both been complete failures when it comes to that. Kristi Noem was this is somebody that I liked. I liked Kristi Noem as a governor. She kept her state open during COVID. There was actual growth. Like there were people that were like businesses weren't having to shut down like everybody else was. She did a very good job. At least what I've read about it. She did a good job as governor. But once DHS.
Isn't that crazy though? All you had to do to become a political superstar was not have archaic views with the COVID stuff and not support men and women's sports. Like all you needed to do was those two things and you blew up. That's crazy. That's how bad our political system is.
Yeah.
Our options at politicians. That's how bad it is. All you had to do to become a superstar was just go, yeah, no, we're not going to lock down. That doesn't seem good. And men shouldn't be in women's sports. Like, oh, wow, what a superhero. We should give them all the power.
I have not thought of it like that. That's really true. Be a reasonable person, a reasonable leader in time of a crisis, and the sky's the limit.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. We will hand you the keys to everything.
And it doesn't hurt being
not good either.
No. It doesn't hurt being a pretty lady when it comes to dealing with Donald Trump either. Donald Trump is that matters to him. He's still he'll talk about this he'll have people around there like, boy, he's a good looking guy. Do you see how handsome he is? Do you see how fit he is?
Well,
do you see his hair?
I'm sure that favored MTG a lot too in the beginning, but she's kind of aging out a little bit. She's starting to look a little rougher around the edges. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like, okay, you're requiring too much makeup now. You got to go.
He is pretty superficial. Oh my goodness, that's funny. I just realized something. This is why I was distracted. I didn't put your social media down in the description.
I wouldn't even worry about it.
Guys, I'm going to right after this. If you are watching this live stream right now, you need to go and as soon as this is done, it's at Rage Bronson, right, over on YouTube. And it is actually, can one of the mods are Ben, Megan, any of you all? Let's see. I'm gonna look down in the chats. What mods do we have on? I don't know why I had that epiphany just a minute ago. I was like, dadgummit. Let's see. Okay, Canna Michelle, I think you're a mod. Can you drop all of Rage's social media down in the chat, and then as soon as the live stream's over, Bronson and I will go and drop all that down into the description. I can't believe I forgot to do that. That's a big faux pas on my part.
I mean, I guess I could complain.
You could complain. I give you carte blanche. Complain. Tell me how terrible of a person I am. Oh,
can't believe you would do that.
It's rude, man. That's
how inconsiderate of you.
Well, we've had some good viewership tonight. It's very rude to do that. Nikki for Freedom says, we know where to find Rage. All right. Wherever you can find PB, ask the question. Did you see the comment?
No, huh? What?
Oh, yeah, the comment that's up. She says, Nikki says,
wherever there's peanut butter French toast, I'll be there.
I was going to say, ask the question. I want to see what the chat says. If we have some non-rage.
Did you see that Patrick Bet David and Vinny sort of walked back their stance on TPUSA and Erica Kirk a little bit?
No.
I don't know if you... Yeah.
What?
I'm trying to remember what exactly was. Vinny ended up having a conversation with Andrew Colvette, and it turned into be like a 45-minute conversation. I'm trying to recall the specifics, but I can't. I don't know why I brought that point up if I can't talk about it, but here we are. Anyway, they are catching a lot of heat for now shilling, and they got the call, and of course they would do this now because Israel. So I just thought that was interesting. Everything's Israel. It's all Israel's fault. I'm guessing you saw that Nick Fuentes clip, right?
Which one?
That was going around, I think it was today, where he was paraphrasing here, but he's basically making the claim that this whole Israel thing is a psyop from the left.
Are those the same people he was telling everybody to vote for?
Yeah, but he's back now. It's Nick. He's like the weather, dude. You don't like the weather? Just give it a day. It'll change.
Golly.
Nick's the same way. You don't like Nick right now? Just give it a day.
Oh, here we go. It came right up here. Let's pull this up here. I'll play it.
From Nick? Well, he was talking about the Charlie Kirk thing, and he's just using that as an example.
Yeah, that's what he was. This is the clip. You can find anything on X. It is.
Yeah, I know.
Wild.
Quick.
5. No one talks about this when they started doing this, and that was September 10th, 2025. Charlie Kirk was killed by Tyler Robinson. He was. Tyler Robinson's transgender boyfriend sold him out. His parents turned him in. His DNA was found at the scene of the crime. His grandparents' gun was found in the bush, discarded after the killing. Tyler Robinson was the killer. He confessed. And what was Tyler Robinson? He was part of the radical left. He was in left-wing Discord servers. He organized with left-wing students. He was one of these people that would have been in favor of Zohran Mamdani. He's a radical left, trans liberation, socialist progressive, hick lib. That's what he was. He killed Charlie Kirk. And what immediately happened after Charlie Kirk died is all of a sudden there was a mandate from an angry nation, which was unequivocally destroy the radical left. Everybody in America was horrified by the violence. Everybody other than the most extreme elements on the left. Young people and old people, black people and white people, men and women, boys and girls, gay people. Everybody was horrified that Charlie Kirk was gunned down, gushing blood out of his neck at some campus college event. And the mandate was unequivocal, which is find the culprit, destroy them. And that's exactly what the government was going to do. Didn't they say Stephen Miller and Vance were on the case and they were going to root out and destroy DSA in these socialist cells across the country? But then what happened? What happened right after that is all of a sudden everybody started to muddy the waters and blame it on Israel. Suddenly there was this narrative that people were wearing maroon and there were these Egyptian planes chasing Charlie Kirk and there were a bunch of Israelis there. And what about the angle from behind him? Didn't Charlie Kirk didn't he just crash out on Bill Ackman? Would you like to know where this narrative originated? The narrative that Charlie Kirk was killed by Israel originated in the gray zone with Max Blumenthal. Max Blumenthal is a Jew. Max Blumenthal used to work for the SPLC, the Huffington Post, Slate, the most far-left publications that are out there. And you think this guy criticizes Israel? He was out there doing hit pieces against David Irving, the Holocaust, the World War II historian that happens to be a Holocaust revisionist for the SPLC. He's a radical leftist. He's a socialist. And Max Blumenthal is the one who initially promulgated the false narrative in the gray zone that Charlie Kirk might have been killed by Israel. Max Blumenthal made up the story that Bill Ackman crashed out on Charlie Kirk. He made up the story that Netanyahu tried to pay Charlie Kirk $200 million to stop criticizing Israel. Neither of those things were true. Bill Ackman brought the receipts. It turns out that Charlie Kirk asked for a meeting with Bill Ackman, selected the people that attended the meeting, and all those people then went on a trip to Israel after the retreat. This $200 million contribution was never corroborated by any other source. But that was the story that everybody took, Candace Owens included, and it was off to the races. And you know who else was pushing this narrative all over social media? The American Communist Party. The American Communist Party, headed up by Hazal Dink and that other nitwit Jackson Hinkle. Those were the people that were the shock troops pushing it on Twitter, and that's because maybe some people have suggested that Tyler Robinson was in their Discord server. So whose head would have been rolling on the floor? Whose head would have been rolling down the steps had the government and society been unified against a radical left? It probably would have been those people that were pushing this narrative that it was anybody other than the radical left that did the killing. That's how it started. But then it kept rolling on and on. When the socialist Nicolas Maduro was extradited from Venezuela, who was out there saying that was an Israeli op? The far left. When ICE killed those two protesters and Hassan Piker and the radical left in Minneapolis were firebombing ICE facilities and attacking ICE and attacking Border Patrol, what did they say then? They said, well, ICE is trained by Israel. It's an Israel issue. And this is the pattern. The left is pushing their agenda everywhere, always, their ideological agenda. They're pushing their agenda covering up the murder of Charlie Kirk. They're pushing their agenda covering for Cuba and Venezuela. They're pushing their agenda covering for these Somalian migrants in Minneapolis. And in every single case, they hide behind Israel. And they say, oh, the left didn't kill Charlie Kirk. That was Israel. Oh, you think the left did it? What are you, with Israel?
I mean, that's an interesting take. I don't know if I believe all that. I just think that Candace Owens and people like that I think it's a little more simple.
As far as
that,
I don't think Candace Owens is smart enough to realize if she's part of an op or not.
Right. I mean, I guess you could say the genesis of it could be from the left.
I mean,
like
she just basically admitted the other day that she's even too stupid to feel embarrassed about getting things wrong.
That's
so.
Wow. Oh,
I don't know if you saw that tweet or not. It was in a reply to Gary. Yeah, she basically was just like, I've been wrong about a lot of things. I'm not embarrassed by it. It's like, yeah, because you're too dumb. You're just too dumb to have any of these normal thoughts that regular people have.
Wow. No, I haven't seen it. I'll have to find that one too. My goodness. I suppose the genesis of this, to what Nick was saying, that the genesis of this thing could be from the left, but I don't know. Maybe I just haven't seen the evidence of that. It just to me seems like opportunism from people like Candace,
for sure,
and that Candace
and the left,
right, and the left. But Candace is on the left.
Elizabeth Lane is doing an interview with, I forget her name, but she was one of the people who were who organized the Un-F America tour with Destiny and I forget who. The kid that was there when Charlie Kirk got hit. I forget his name, but all of these people that were sort of, combating TPUSA. Mm-hmm. Elizabeth Lane is doing this interview with this chick about bad things about TPUSA and all this like negative stuff going on with certain, I don't know, chapters of TPUSA. Like the same Elizabeth Lane that's on Tucker Carlson and pushing back against Gary and saying that she has Kash Patel's phone number in her phone. Like, it's Nick generally, he gets things right quite a bit, like him or not.
Yeah. I treat him with so much skepticism. There was one bit that stood out to me when I started thinking, this guy seems like a lefty. He doesn't seem like a conservative. And in that diatribe, monologue, whatever it was, he was saying the right needs to give up on, we got to give up on free markets. The left has got to give in on the border. The right needs to give up on free markets. The right also needs to give up on free healthcare and free college. I'm like, these are the biggest, like, just that, plus saying now, he'll talk, it's about conservatism, it's about this, it's about being a real America first, it's about that, And then he's saying, well, vote Democrat. And then the next day he says, well, the Democrats are the ones that weaponize the justice system against everybody. And it's like, well, bro, you just told all your audience that you need to be voting on the left. Now you're saying that they're weaponizing the left. And then you were talking about...
Nick got a ton of pushback from the Groypers on the whole vote left thing. I think that's probably why he's maybe moved on from that. Just to clarify, they weren't real big fans of that whole idea.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're flushing something out as, I don't know, what are we supposed to vote left? Let's do a pros and cons show on what it means to vote for the left. Well, if you vote for the left, you're crushing the right, you're crushing Donald Trump because we're mad at Donald Trump about this, we're mad at Donald Trump about that. Boo hoo hoo, poo 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 faced. And let's lay it out and say that this, I'm not married to this. Instead of these very animated, spirited, we got to crush these people, crush the right, crush Donald Trump, crush MAGA. We don't care about that. We're voting Democrat. We're voting on the left. It's like, bro, I just don't.
Yeah, but that might have been how he actually felt. Like there might be some serious left-wing tendencies there.
Yeah.
And then he thought that the Groypers would just go along with it. And it's like, oh crap. All right. Well, maybe that's not such a good idea.
Yeah.
I mean, he's young and naive.
He is. I think
and
he's well-read. He's smart. I do think that he's smart. I just don't think he's as morally...
He's not that smart. He's a Catholic.
Well, fair point. Uh-oh. Here we go. We're going to get into that one. That one admittedly, that one threw me off. Well, he says that he is, but that's the other thing. If you are, some of the moral positions he's taken, over the years, when he was really saying I'm a Catholic and I am this, the anti-Semitism, which was a thing that was a big chunk of what he was doing. He took it to such an extreme. You kind of, somebody that's calling themselves a Catholic but conducts themselves that way, you kind of have to question which one is what's the way to put it? How rooted in those morals are you actually? You know what I mean? because you're supposed to live a certain way. Once you become a Christian, there's certain parameters that you're supposed to live within. And they all kind of just flew out the window because it seemed like he was, the average person would look at it and be like, oh, you're play acting. You're saying that, but none of the things you're prescribing, none of the things you're doing show that. You know, buy your fruits, buy their fruits, you will know them. And to have the bigotry, the anti-Semitism, and some of the vile stuff he was saying, it's like, well, now that math's not mathing. So I shouldn't question where the guy sits with the Lord. That's not my place to do. It's between him and Jesus. But I don't know. Constantly changing policies and some pretty vulgar stuff that has never been walked back, and some things that are pretty antithetical to Christianity. I question just about everything that he says.
You went way deeper than I thought you were going to go. I was just trying to take a jab at Catholics.
Oh man. You never know, man. Sometimes I'll hear something and I'm like, okay, because it's something I've thought about with people like Nick Fuentes. It's so weird. Like, I don't know. I feel like he has to have a bit of audience capture because the social media companies are coming after him. He can't be on YouTube. He's not.
Oh, 100%.
So he has to, for monetary purposes, he really can't piss off the groypers too much, because then he loses his revenue stream. Now, the Bitcoin that the guy gave him ages ago, that's probably worth, I don't know, that's got to be worth, it's worth less now. At one point, it was worth like $2 or $3 million. You know, the guy that died and donated, gave him the Bitcoin. But,
I don't know I don't know if he's necessarily like worried about upsetting the groypers too much, because where are they going to go? Well, I think it's more like, I think it may have been, okay, maybe this is a bad idea. Maybe they're right and this is stupid.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping. That might be a little bit of cope, but I mean, where are the groypers going to go? They don't, there's nobody else.
No, there's not.
So,
do you think he's a Fed? That's a big question.
Nick?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think so at all.
You don't think so?
They use the J6 thing a lot, but he wasn't even on Capitol grounds. Like, he's standing away from Capitol grounds with a megaphone, screaming whatever he's screaming to. We're gonna take the Capitol.
He was telling them to go to the Capitol. Was he off Capitol grounds? I thought he was on Capitol grounds.
He was off. No, he wasn't even on Capitol grounds.
Were there any other people that were off Capitol grounds?
And I don't think
outside because they were using the.
So by the crowd that Nick had by him, where he was screaming with the megaphone and just saying stupid shit, I don't think anybody even from that crowd like left to go do what Nick was telling people to do.
Right.
They were just like, what? No, Nick is cool. Yay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So no, I don't think Nick's a Fed.
I found
what would be the point?
Yeah. People throw that around, and
he's a Fed, but he's going to be taken off of all social media platforms, and he's not. You would. Yeah, but he's a Fed. You're going to want.
He is, but to create a persona, I'm total speculation here. I don't think he's a Fed, but I do think it was weird that he was telling people to go to the Capitol, and he's one of the people that did not get in trouble. Now, I thought he was on Capitol grounds, but if he wasn't, is it an arbitrary thing? Was he just outside the gate, and yet he's telling people, but somebody who was on the other side of where the barrier was supposed to be, and they go to prison, but he doesn't? I mean, you could see it. I did a couple of videos on it.
Alex Jones was there. He didn't go to prison.
He didn't, but he was actively saying, don't do this, don't do that. He wasn't saying we need to go to the Capitol. Yeah, he was
I don't
saying
think that made a difference.
No.
Did it? Because what's his face from I'm drawing a blank. Owen Schroyer. I don't think Owen Schroyer was telling anybody to go into the Capitol, and he got arrested and charged. Mm-hmm. But Alex didn't. Is Alex a Fed? I mean, I've questioned that before, or some type of controlled opposition, but I just, people like Nick, I don't know. They seem too unpredictable for them to be that type of connected.
Yeah. That's a fair point.
And that's also giving a lot of credit to the Feds as well.
that they could run a successful op like that. Yeah.
Now, if you look at like, what was that stupid group? Patriot Front.
Oh gosh, that
looks more like a Fed op. Like, you guys really suck at this.
Khaki
are they still a thing?
They're still a thing, I believe. I believe. Always wearing masks, khaki pants, button-up polos. No, like they're all relatively fit people, and the not the high and tights, but the perfect fades. You know, it's a government haircut. It's like government everything says. It just screams feds.
Yeah. Yeah, the leader, I forget. I think he was on Patrick Bet-David's podcast a while ago.
Yeah.
Or the founder or whoever. I don't even know if he's still a part of it anymore. But he's like a super white nationalist. Like,
oh, is he?
He's okay with, he's okay with certain races and things being in the country, but he doesn't believe. And I could be getting this wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm accurate. Like, he would not want any of them to have any type of political power. It should just all be white people, and I believe white men should be the only people in political power. Which, I mean, if that happened, like I wouldn't be like, oh, we can't do this, but I wouldn't advocate for that either.
Let's see, the PBD. Wait, hang on, say that again.
No, we can keep going.
Ben sent me. I'm like, wait, did I just hear that right? Oh my gosh. Ben sent me the PBD clip here. Thank you, moderator Ben.
Of the Patriot Front or the Vinny and the TPUSA one?
I think it was the Vinny one.
Oh, okay. Because if that's a Patriot Front one, shout out to Ben. Need to throw him a couple bucks because he's on top of it. He got it that quick.
Let's see if I can get this thing to.
Does your setup allow you to scroll all the way back through all of the chats? Like the one that I use cuts me off.
Yes, I can. Right now I can. So it eventually, once the show closes, it cuts me off. But well, let's see. Is it gonna let me? Oh, there it went. Download. Well, let me see if I can do it without. Can let me do it without ads.
About a week ago, we showed a video.
Let's see.
Where Vinny reacted to a video that was where Andrew Colvett and his partner said, we are trolling the trolls, and we thought it was a fake video. Folks from TPUSA, I won't give names, they reached out to me and they said, hey, that was a real video. That's actually what Charlie Kirk said. And I spoke to the gentleman who set up his estate planning, Doug, who I mentioned him before. And, you know, he says, Pat, this is what he wanted. He wanted Erica to run the organization afterwards. And the controversy was over this video. And the video I'm going to come to because you guys had a 45-minute call. Go ahead, guys.
The most important relationship in your life is the one that you have with your Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. His passion was my passion, and now his mission is my mission.
I appoint my wife to run Turning Point USA if something happens to me. Erica would do a great job.
Okay, Vinny, you had a call with Andrew.
So I talked to Andrew. Mind you, Pat, I think we met him in passing at one of the TPUSA events. Adam hooked it up where I got back from, where were we?
We were
Washington.
in D.C.
Great
and I
fight,
spoke with him for 45 minutes. You ever just see somebody on TV or on videos and everybody has their assumptions in their head, but then you speak with them, you're like, oh, okay, now I know exactly who you are as a human being. Pat, 45 minutes. I mean, we could have gone for a 2-hour conversation. He explained that video that they put together, it wasn't them, it wasn't AI. But on X, somebody put, people community know if they're on a certain side. He had to go in and he had to get the community note lifted because it wasn't AI. So he explained the whole situation to me, and it was not what I thought it was. And I commented on it because that's what I thought was happening. But the 45-minute conversation, Pat, it's as if I don't want to get into the nitty-gritty of the conversation, but if people out there, if you don't think that Andrew Colvett is genuinely concerned and worried, Pat, he has so many more questions about everything that happened with the shooter, with Tyler Robinson's his name. it was such a good conversation, and I never judged him or thought anything of him different. But having spoken with him and clarifying the situation, I was wrong because what I saw that Grok said, right, boom, AI, they can go on Grok and people could keep community knowing Pat, and even if it's not real, he had to go on and fix it. So I was in the wrong, and yeah, he's actually a really a good dude.
Talking to Andrew.
Very, very good dude. He's a stand-up dude.
Yeah, so there you have it with that video. It's interesting because when we were on a flight.
So the entire point of this whole clip is that Vinny now understands what community notes are. Like how did these people get where they are? I don't understand what is happening, man. We deserve better than this. These people are so stupid.
Well, and if you don't know that community notes can be weaponized, like you're really not paying attention to X. Like they're weaponized all the time. I'm trying to think of the one. There have been a couple of really big ones recently, but they're not coming to mind.
Anything controversial, they're being weaponized. Anything controversial.
Yeah.
It's been that way. Like, good job, Vinny. You figured out how community notes work now. Congratulations. It's like, oh, there's a little fact check tab down here. It must be true.
Well, yeah, it's like, where do you think that comes from? Oh my word! Welcome to the, good job. You're on one of the biggest podcasts on YouTube on the planet.
But it's like, oh, okay. Now that I talked to Andrew Colvette after dragging TPUSA for months on end on the show, now that I finally reached out and talked to him, oh, he's actually it's not what I thought. He's a good guy. Like, couldn't have done that months ago. These people just suck.
Yeah.
They just suck. They have these giant platforms. They have so much reach and influence. You telling me you guys couldn't have reached out to anybody from TPUSA months ago to have a conversation? Probably even have them on their show. But
well, and that's the thing.
Whatever. That's where we're at.
That should have been the first thing. Is okay. Well, I think they did have him on, but Vinny could have had him on. He was the skeptical one. Here, go on what's his podcast? He's got it's like Unusual Suspects or something like that. He's got a fairly.
I don't even know.
He's got a podcast. I guess it's still on. I'm assuming. He could have invite him on. Sit down, do long form, do an hour, ask him all the questions, or just a courtesy call. But no, he ran with that same standing up for Candace Owens. Vinny was consistently standing up big time for Candace Owens. It's like, bro, that if our little podcasts, our little internet shows out here can easily tell that she is lying, how does somebody, like you said, with that much reach get fooled?
I have no idea. Makes no sense. She's not even coming up with anything original at this point. She's just parroting what other people are finding.
Well, and I think wasn't that a lot of her show? You know this because you followed it. You've done some serious deep dives.
Not early on. Early on, she was getting a lot of tips, and she was breaking. The problem was the breaking information she was showing was incorrect. She was painting a picture that wasn't based in reality off of what we have to assume is a real thing that she acquired from somebody. Like she would hardly ever show receipts. The one time she ever really showed a receipt was the little screenshot of the conversation where Charlie made a comment that the Jews really live up to the stereotypes and that he has no choice but to not support the pro-Israel whatever anymore. That's really, and they just, ever since then, they've completely ran with that. But no, she's always misrepresented things or taken things out of context or just blatantly made shit up.
Yeah. Wow. Well, somebody said it down here in the comments. I'm not sure why, but yeah, you can email me, continuefreedomnow@gmail.com. That's the email. Email management. Somebody, I guess, wanted to email me something. Well, Bronson, I think we've come to the end of the show. Tell everybody where they can find you on all social media, where you prefer, all the handles. I'll get it put down.
I mean, I have all social medias, guys, but I'm only mainly on YouTube and on X for right now. So it's at Rage Bronson on YouTube and at Rage Bronson YT on X. X is a lot of fun. I love X.
It's a little bit of a cesspool, but it is fun.
It's a huge cesspool.
It really
full
is.
of bots and misinformation and propaganda, and it's wonderful.
Oh, and hateful people. There's like, I don't know what it is. It's always been that way. When it was Twitter and now when it's X, like you're the worst of everybody comes out, I feel like, on X. Does that happen to you? It happens to me. I read something
all the time.
Like,
including myself.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that was the point you were making.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
that's the point I was making.
It's
I get up and
it's not healthy.
No. Don't.
But it's fun.
Yeah. Follow somebody. Go follow Rage. Follow Continue Freedom. Follow our accounts. Oh, and if you haven't done so, hit all the free buttons below. Helps us in the algorithm. And you go follow. But if you start feeling angry and you start getting pissed off and you're sending pissed off replies all the time, step away for a minute. That's what I do.
I have a tendency to follow a lot of people that I oppose, that I have very differing opinions from, because I want to try to understand how they've come to the conclusions on numerous different topics that they've come to, like how they got there, how their thinking works. Because I don't like echo chambers. Like I try to trick my algorithms as much as possible to give me things that I don't like. So you just make the algorithm think that you like it, and they give you more of that. I don't like echo chambers. I think that is really causing a lot of this division that we're seeing, and it's only going to, like I said before, it's only going to lead to more extremism and more violence. And we ourselves are in control of our echo chambers. We can manipulate the algorithms so we're not in an echo chamber. Just comes down to, do we want to do that or not?
Gosh, that's a great place to end. I love that. Yeah, change your own algorithm. You actually control it. That's a great point. All right, guys, thank you all so much. I appreciate it. This has been a wonderful, the 3 hours has flown by, for somebody who does 1 hour live streams. I have absolutely enjoyed this. Again, I know I've said it in a broken record. Go follow Rage on all of his social media platforms. And Rage, you hang put, but everybody else, we will see you later. God bless you. God bless America.